surprised if Tempo Storm tried to snipe him or ban him.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense, and you know that they were watching. Temple Storm was watching the games in the first set today. I'm paying attention to what's strong, and on the topic of being able to watch the Cloud9 Maelstrom, they have a nice little break. They can get some food, relax a little bit, and they can watch this series very closely. And honestly, they're probably all on Vent or TeamSpeak or whatever right now, and they're just gonna be discussing strategies the entire time. It's a huge advantage for that team, but that's for a little bit later. Let's talk about what's going on right now. And there it is, the Zeratul.
Yeah, you got to respect it. I mean, they've shown how good they are with it, how good they can set up. And, man, it's just absolutely wonderful seeing the Zeratul being banned out. All these teams are respecting each other so much at this high-level play. These teams know each other so well.
What is going to be the ban for Tuark? What would you say if you had to pick from that last series that you just watched, one hero that's too impactful to ignore, to ban out?
Yeah, I don't know. It's Tuark
a tough
has,
question.
Yeah, and they could just go for something like Rhaegar here, but they already know how likely it is that Uther is going to be picked up for a Tempo Storm. They might even ban out Uther, honestly.
It does seem to be the core part to a bunch of their strategies. Even Sonya, like we mentioned, Illidan, if they happen to get that pickup, and it's actually okay. It's going to be Jaina.
Okay, gotta respect that. Jaina's been picked so frequently. Her damage, she's just a massive hero. But this gives Tempo Storm the option to snag that Vala very early, or Illidan, depending on how they're feeling. But very likely they will go for a damage dealer.
No, nothing in Rhaegar? Not feeling it?
I don't know if Rhaegar makes the most sense as the first pick here, especially considering how frequently they're just running with Uther instead and having great success with that Divine Shield.
And we haven't really seen Tuark run double healer that much. At least Uther Rhaegar. So they've grabbed Illidan. Probably will provoke a Rhaegar pick. Actually, if there is a time for them to run these two heroes, it's now.
They're saying it glitched in the lobby. So they might not have picked Illidan. It seems like a legitimate pick, but we're not sure. Yes, it is. It is correct. So it looks like we're going to keep going forward. It's okay. It happens. Stormcraft is a great tool, is what they're saying.
I don't get any sarcasm out of that sentence.
And they got their time pulled back, so the draft will continue.
Okay, but yeah, once again, so we're talking about the synergy between Rhaegar and Illidan. Very strong. This has been known for some time between a lot of the teams that are currently competing in the meta. There's the steal on Rhaegar, but now all of a sudden Uther, with these the development of the Divine Shield picks, seems to be also filling that role. And is it worth it to deny both?
They could. No, Tuark is a team that is not really known for running double support.
Right.
But it's well worth considering because of how successful Tempo Storm has been with that composition.
Very good point. We're starting to get down to 10 seconds. All right, so let's say Uther is picked from Tuark. How do you follow this up with Tempo Storm? Do you think that it's still important to try to run any kind of double support for Illidan, or just try to not really make him the focus of your team and focus a little bit more perhaps on your tank? Stitches Tyrande is still available. Okay, so they're not going for it. They're actually just going to pick up some damage with Vala.
I think that's probably the right call. I don't know that Rhaegar Uther you would be sacrificing so much just to deny at that point. And you're playing around one hero a little bit too much. So I'm glad we do see Vala picked up. Yeah. But Illidan, we talk about Uther, but we also, like you said, you just mentioned Stitches Tyrande. If they can lock in all of that, that's the dream.
The dream. They do get a lot of top tier heroes that way. But can't discount this, that we haven't really seen Tempo playing to this Stitches Tyrande style. If anything, it's been Diablo Tyrande.
And obviously not going to be seen that this game as they go for ETC. They'll likely follow up with either Tassadar or Uther. If they don't feel a threat in having Uther stolen, then they can
just wait it out.
They can wait it out, yeah. So they can opt for something like Zagara, opt for something like Tassadar. That is, an earlier pickup that they want to have, because they know Tuark is actually likely to pick up Zagara since Zeratul's been banned out. They like to have that control on the battlefield. They like that playmaker. Diablo with Maw Apocalypse Maw, it can do a lot. And considering ETC has been picked up, it's very likely Turok's going to run with Diablo in this game.
Good point. And we have also seen the 2-arc will very likely save that warrior pick. They really like to do that. They're flexible with their warriors. Worst case scenario, they try to fit something in with Tyrael that they know isn't going to get scooped up by Tempo Storm. So whatever Tempo Storm picks here, I would fully expect. I was going to say if Tassadar doesn't grab, so it may be Tyrande and a damage dealer.
I mean, Tyrande Diablo with Rhaegar and Vala, that's such a rock solid squad. I say rock solid. It's not, there's no ETC on that team.
Just banned from using that phrase. All right. I don't know. I'm in the camp that they don't need to pick up their warrior right now. I really don't think that it's super necessary. I think.
But I think grabbing Tyrande.
Yeah, because
it puts that pseudo support.
Yeah.
Rhaegar needs it, and they give them the option of Stitches or Diablo.
Yeah. They can take either.
Or Tyrael even with 2-arc.
Sure.
They can do it.
For sure. That's what I'm trying to say. They don't really need to pick up that, and they can try to scoop up a top tier damage dealer, whatever they feel comfortable with, whether that be Zagara. Certainly a possibility. Tychus is also on the field. I like this pick. Falstad could have been a selection there, depending on what they want to lock out. We've seen them run Falstad to great success, so it's going to be Tychus.
Yeah, Tycho will be snagged here. And, all right. Well, looking at this, Tychus has the damage output. They have a lot of damage, and like we mentioned, tanks will likely be the last. Do they go for that Tyrande pickup? They could do something crazy. Try to run Rhaegar Brightwing. On this map, it could be okay, but wow, they do steal Uther!
Not what I was expecting. We talked about this, that they don't often run double support, but here it is.
Oh my
Will
goodness.
they have the damage output with whatever warrior they grab?
I feel like Tempo can just grab Malfurion.
Yeah.
They have Malf.
They have the Tassadar for a little bit of extra support on top of that, and they can scoop up some heavy damage dealers. And they've been showing that they're comfortable with Tyrande. Doesn't matter who the warrior is. It's a little bit harder to line things up with ETC. Still, it could be done.
Would it be
Nazebo? Could be done.
Could be Vikings.
Haven't seen Vikings out of
Zagara.
Temple Storm in this tournament so far, but they are capable of playing them, of course.
Yeah, more than capable.
Okay, there's the
They
Nazebo.
like Zebo.
That's like their niche pick that they can wait till the end to grab it for a damage dealer.
And
It's been working out pretty well for them.
Is it Furion or Brightwing?
I'd say Malf.
I would agree, but okay. There it is.
And if they're going to take Brightwing, well, no, because there's no way that they're going to run triple support, right? So it's just up to them, and there's the Tyrael. Do they have the damage output to follow up? I'm not convinced for 2-arc. I mean, they kind of put themselves in a spot where they needed to steal the Uther away because they just didn't want to deal with Divine Shield Illidan. But whatever target gets judgmented, do they have the damage follow-up to isolate that target and kill them?
It's going to be really tough, honestly.
I guess they don't have to follow up immediately. Sure, they could also run Divine Shield to keep Tyrael alive, but it's not like he's the biggest of threats in those team engagements.
But losing on the Rhaegar or Uther with an Illidan on the opposing side, it's going to be really tough for Illidan to get that damage output against a squad like this. You dive in, and suddenly you're getting hit by stuns from the Uther, and he can just judgment you right as soon as you try to engage, and they can follow up with that to just immediately just keep that Illidan locked down and blow him up.
So you think it's going to be a bit more of a defensive
I think
use
it will
of
be a
judgment?
very defensive use of judgment. And we've seen 2-arc do this in the past.
Yes. Good points. Well, I've doubted the Tyrael so many times.
Never again.
How many times have I doubted the Tyrael? I'm just like, what? They have Hammer on their team. It's not. It worked. What? They have this. It works. They are just so good at running with Tyrael.
They really are.
And making it work in so many different compositions. I love to see this kind of play for 2-arc.
It's exciting. It's clean. It's tested.
Yeah.
And they've proved themselves with the Tyrael. This is going to be the first game of this decider match in the losers bracket between Tempo Storm and 2-arc.
That's right.
The run back from last night.
A run back, and it was a great series yesterday. It was an incredible series. It went all the way to Game 5, and we can only hope for that level of excitement here, and I think that these two teams are going to bring it, and they will deliver.
Cursed Hollow. This is a map that both of these teams have very high win rates on. If I'm not mistaken, in the team league, I think they both had 100% win rates. I could be wrong.
Very high at the very
I
least.
need my stat sheet. I'll pull that up to
My
confirm
stats.
that.
Where are my
I'll
stats?
confirm that before our next game. But I know we know that both these teams are seasoned and proven to be incredibly strong on Cursed Hollow. Game number 1 loading up. Let us introduce our teams. With Tempo Storm in the blue, we have Dreadnought playing Malfurion. Finally, we get to see the Mecha Tassadar played by Arthalon, Glaurung on ETC, KO playing Nazebo, and Soldier rounding out on Illidan.
Absolutely, and on the other side of the map for the red team, we have 2 Arc Iliad playing for them. We have Furious D on Uther, Panucci on Tyrael, Chubbs on Rhaegar, Trader's going to be playing Vala, and Quibsy on Tychus.
And this is going to be quite the series, ladies and gentlemen, so make sure you get on social media.
Yes.
Tell everyone about this match. The winner of this will advance to the grand finals to face Cloud9 Maelstrom, who just defeated Tempo Storm in a very close series. Going in, immediately just getting that damage onto Arthalon with the multi-shot and just kind of bullying him back a little bit. But man, the pickups for Rhaegar Uther, we'll see if that pays off. It's a denial, but it's also an incredible amount of stability.
That's right. So you mentioned the possibility that Tyrael would be used in a more defensive fashion, but I would almost actually argue that both teams will be kind of playing a defensive, like there's just nothing that's super big to initiate with, and I'm looking specifically at Tempo Storm. Yeah, ETC can try to dash in, but it's not going to be something that hits all of a sudden, right? But then on the other side of the coin, 2 Arc doesn't necessarily have the long range damage to follow up on Tyrael's Judgment. A little bit of pressure at the bottom lane.
And look at that, the supports. I mean, just Furious D and Chubbs providing so much healing potential. It looks like nothing even happened in that fight.
I know, it's crazy. We do have like 1.5 supports, I guess if I could say that, and 2 full supports. So it's going to be, I'm calling it now. I think that the kill count for this game will be low, and there'll be a ton of posturing between the 2 teams before any fights end up happening.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a game on the longer end based on the compositions, but we're going to find out there's a lot of just pacing back and forth, trading blows right now, but when it boils down to it, it's just soaking up the mana pool of these players as we do prepare for the first preview of the game. Just looking through the talents, nothing out of the ordinary. Sustainability, mana, Conjurer's Pursuit across the board for the support players that can grab it, and a healing ward on Rhaegar.
Absolutely, we start hitting about minute and 45 seconds, about 30 seconds, and we'll see if we get an early tribute and what the rotations are going to be for the teams. Do they want to continue soaking to get that nice jump onto level 10, or do they want to make sure that they get that tribute count in their favor early on? We can see that there's very little roaming and ganking for both of these teams, as just the compositions they have don't really lend themselves to it.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be more a lot of rotations like we're seeing here with the taking of the mercenary camps, maybe a bit of pressure on the lanes themselves, but not really prioritizing the kills so much.
Now, they do suspect that they are not there. That's why they're just double-checking that they're not there. This is 2-minute markers, typically when we see mercenaries, and KO and Soldier just going to push up this lane and then rotate back. Looks like they're likely going to go for this tribute in the top part of the map.
KO remaining in the bottom lane for 2 Arc. I mean, for Tempo Storm, Chubbs remaining for 2 Arc. So we're probably going to still see some soak bottom lane, and it's just going to be a 4v4 for this first tribute.
Immediately, they're just making sure no one's in that bush, throwing the roots out to zone. Quibsy just going to walk around the edge of that, and the Psy Storm just continuing to stall them the best he can. The shield will be used, and Arthalon's mana pool is actually quite low, but Soldier gonna get it at the last possible second.
I like that particular zoning play. They realized that there were a few members of 2 Arc that were still needed to pass through that channel that's on the lower side between, or just above the mid lane. And the use of the roots, the storm to stall it out, actually burned the overkill cooldown by tapping that dimensional shift. Yeah, his mana was low, but still put themselves in a very nice spot. Tempo Storm picks up the first tribute.
Yeah, and I believe they lost a bit of soak there in the bottom lane, but Tempo had obviously missed a bit in the middle lane during that last engagement, so it's very even in terms of levels. Bruisers being collected here on the side of 2 Arc, and we have Illidan just finishing up the Giants on their side of the jungle.
Looking at these level 4 towns, we do see Feral Heart once again, and we'll pay attention to Chubbs' build moving forward, whether he decides to go for those double lightning shield abilities at 13 and 16. That seemed to be a little bit unique to his playstyle for Rhaegar, but the Feral Heart is interesting. They opting to not go for that Farsight.
Soldier getting chased back here off these bruisers with the help of KO. They're going to be able to bully them back a bit, and Malfurion rotating up. But yeah, they need to be cautious. Look at this totem usage just to get vision over that wall. Very nicely done. Tassadar in the neighborhood, but tanks, there's going to be no tanks in this fight.
Very good point. Yes, they tend to leave those tanks in the top lane. Does this actually buy enough time for Temple Storm to grab the second tribute of the game really quick?
Arthlon is just a stall tactic right now. He's dismounting them. He's stalling the best he can. Glaurung zoning to stall also, and that is going to be the second tribute in a row picked up by Temple Storm. Very nicely done.
That is quite a bit of leverage for the next tribute that will spawn. It gives Temple Storm some ability to dictate whether or not the fight needs to happen at all, and they could take different pressure across the map. And actually, Quibsy, especially with the roots being thrown down, is going to put him in a precarious position. He has to pop first aid. Dreadnought actually getting isolated and will take the first kill of the game to Arc.
And that's just the power. They had the grenade to knock him back, the stun followed up from Uther, and that put him in a position where there was just no help because Tassadar had just Hearth back home. There was no shielding available from him, and as a result, well, that was a nice first blood picked up from 2 Iliad.
So while the tribute count is well in favor of Temple Storm, now seeing that slight EXP lead, those kills going a long way to just catch them back up in this. And of course, it's all about that race to 10. At the current time, doesn't really look like one team will have this timing attack while they have the advantage of heroics. But still, with this third tribute spawning, they can guarantee the 2 Arc will represent very heavily at this fight.
Yeah, they have to, but Chubbs is being chased back a little bit. This double support is going to be really tough to deal with before they have their heroics. Once they have level 10, it's going to be a little bit more manageable considering they have that tranquility and they have a little bit more burst potential. But as it stands, this is very difficult for Temple Storm to actually even burn a target down.
Oh, and actually they don't have enough range in time, so that tribute will go to the way of 2 Arc. And actually, it looks as though Temple Storm is really trying to get very aggressive, passing through a soldier, really putting a lot of pressure onto Quibsy and Chubbs.
But the damage output is there. Panucci very low, but they're just staying alive. Between Tassadar and Malfurion, it's enough, and the bullying pressure of just ETC and Illidan doing flips, you know, making them the gymnasium of the enemy team. Still, no kills. I mean, again, we talked about this game likely being a low-kill match. Seems likely at this point in time, but they're trading these structures. They're pushing in, abusing the location on the enemy team to try to find the advantage towards that level 10.
Yeah, they seem to have picked up on the fact, Temple Storm, of course, that most of the team rotated back for 2 Arc to grab those giants, and they're actually taking this opportunity to put a lot of pressure in the top lane. They may push forward if they go continually uncontested for this top fort. We do have the heroics for both teams now. The Gargantuan is picked up once again, so they really are liking this no matter the composition on the other team.
Yeah.
Judgment, Strafe, Odin. I would expect to see, okay, Divine Storm and Ancestral Healing for Uther and Rhaegar, respectively.
We've already seen a lot of power out of that Gargantuan in the previous game. And the Strafe is doing so much damage. The Root's almost able to zone out, but not quite. But the top fort was destroyed by Soldier and Glaurung. Now, this tribute is spawning. Again, not crucial for Temple Storm to pick up, but they still would like to put all their forces there. So they tap the wells, they're rotating up, and Strafe is on cooldown right now.
Yeah, it's a very good point. That's a large chunk of their damage output. Of course, Odin is still available, but without battle momentum, there's no way that Trader's going to have this back up for this fight. And it's absolutely a must fight for 2 Arc because of the threat of the curse, and Glaurung is using the stage dive to get in.
And we have Dreadnought getting stunned out. The Judgment goes in, but the shields come out. He stays alive for a while, and the healing around him is going to be enough to buy a lot of time for the rest of the team. The damage output is real. We have Tychus and Uther both falling, but now the Ghost of Uther is going to do his best to keep those heals coming out. Chubb's very low, Metamorphosis going in. That is going to be a kill. No, the Ghost healing came through. He's dashing forward with the chase. One more hit. No, the shield from Lightning Shield. So close.
Ah! No, what? How did he do that?
Oh, Mike Soldier has overextended. He is gonna die.
No, I don't know how he did that. He used the dash to pop through the wall. That wasn't a flip.
Oh my.
He glitched through the wall. I think he was absolutely not expecting to walk over that wall there. And of course, evasion was off cooldown. Still, though, while this was all transpiring, the curse was picked up for Temple Storm due to the positional advantage.
What a close game. The
crazy.
kill's 3-2 right now. Tempo Storm, they did pick up a curse, but with Illidan down, they can't maximize their efficiency. Now the top fort has fallen. That wave is being pushed out, and they will be able to get in position and blow up this bottom fort. That'll put them closer to level 13, giving them a bit of an edge in this game.
Yeah, they already have the top fort down. We can see the Panucci is on the top lane, cleaning up just a little bit. And full rotation for Tuark to take on this golem for their side of the map.
Yeah, it's going to be trading out the bosses right now, just pulling up that damage. We can see Zebo has been topping the charts with this style on the side of Tempo Storm, and you know that's this new build. We got the Spider Cluster being picked up.
Plus
we got
the
Gargantuan. It's really he's more of a minion master in a lot of ways.
Yep, really trying to fill out that specialist role that he happens to occupy. And look at this, they actually leave a couple members of Tempo Storm to capitalize on this golem in the bottom lane, sending a couple of the other members back up to try and put some presence in the middle lane. Dreadnought gets caught by the Judgment.
Now, they split their team trying to maximize their efficiency, but as a result, they lost Dreadnought for that. Glaurung is very low, and they have to force themselves back. Going from a situation where they're trying to maximize their efficiency, cost them a hero, and put them on the back foot, giving Tuark just free roam to do whatever they want on the map right now.
Imposing Will picked up at level 13 for Tyrael. That's going to make a lot of a huge statement to deal with Illidan and the Archon. They're going to have to avoid hitting Tyrael as much as possible, which just lets him get a little bit more aggressive, especially in the thick of things in the middle of those team fights. Golems are just slamming away at these structures. The bottom lane is actually a little bit further pushed for Tempo Storm. Levels are still quite even.
Yeah, but this Golem, I mean, the fact that he got to take out this entire wall, that's a big deal. Tempo Storm is a team that if they take a team fight and they can just rush your keep, they're gonna do it.
That's what they're known for.
And, you know, having that, I mean, the top Golem didn't even manage to pick up this fort. So, all things considered, Tempo's in a really good spot right now.
Mm-hmm. Some of the other talents that were picked up that we didn't get a chance to talk about. Actually, I'm looking at Vala's Caltrops. That talent here has been pretty much
I didn't even realize
up to preference, it seems like, for a lot of these players. Now the battle momentum's gone, which is, you know, was the almost sure pick for every team. A little bit of engagement. Panucci pressing forward. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Game has locked up on both of our computers.
Uh-oh.
And
we're back? Huh?
We're back. We're alive. Kubi's computer's
okay,
ripped, but we are alive. Looks like there was mass disconnects. Fiercey also back in the game.
Please.
Bit of a BattleNet stutter. Kubi is back. Yes, very good, excellent, great, grand. Heroics all available on the table. And just speaking of Caltrops, that's the response to Illidan. You need to help getting away from him. Caltrops is a really cool talent for that kind of situation. You can even see it right there. There's the stage dive going in. They want to try to blow up that, the Odin, and then Arthalon gets very low. Dimensional Shift backing on out, and there's the Metamorphosis going forward. The double healer, though, it's paying off so well right now. They just can't kill Quibsy. They get so close. They commit so hard, and two frontliners have fallen. Panucci still alive. Every single member is so low, but Tempo Storm, they've lost 3 members, and it's looking to be more.
That was incredible. Look how low everyone is. That just goes to show you how good the healers are on Tuark. Now, it probably was a little bit of confusion starting off that fight, especially with all the disconnects, but I actually didn't see anyone on Tempo Storm disconnected, so if anything, that would have been maybe a bad start for Tuark, but they really handled it nicely. And like you mentioned, Odin was just able to tee off, had to back up a couple of times, but the healers did such a good job getting heroes like Tassadar and Illidan to overcommit, trying to get the kill on Odin. And they were punished for it.
They just couldn't do it.
They were punished.
Look at this. Blood for blood. Blood for blood. Blood for
Yeah.
blood. Picked up at level 16. Not only is that burst damage, but when Illidan and ETC try to approach, it's just going to rip them apart. And they're already so hard to kill, that's more sustain for all 3 of those heroes.
If they time that out, or if they make the call for it, hey, blood for blood ETC, that's 45% of his HP. Gone. Immediately.
He just dies.
And
So
he also gets the 30% movement speed slow on top of that. It's a cool strategy to eliminate the...
We don't see it that often.
I think it's just rare to line up that many heroes on the same team that have the blood for blood. Also the imposing presence, so that's 2 imposing presence-like talents that they have to worry about. So now they can no longer target Uther or Tyrael, and that's Odin and Illidan. So far, I'm really liking these talent choices for Tuark. I'm impressed.
Yeah, and they have that level 16 advantage, forcing Tempo Storm back. This is going to be a curse picked up for Tuark. And, man, I mean, the tides have turned. One really convincing team fight. They are now sitting in a very advantageous position.
Yeah, so let's see what kind of damage they're going to throw down with this curse. No hero advantage to either team, so it's just strictly push power. Without those structures firing back, they get free reign to shove through this keep wall.
Yeah, they're just knocking on that door. There goes the tower. The Odin has been popped, and that's just saying, hey, look, we're here to party.
And it looks at this point, the Tempo Storm is sort of just taking as much of a defensive posture as possible. All the heroics are available, and we'll have to see what they're really waiting for to start this fight, if anything. We just saw the Gargantuan was thrown down, was eliminated very quickly, and we have the Odin.
But Tranquility going in, the Judgment in the backline onto KO. Not going to be quite enough. Quibsy gets hit with an Ancestral Healing, and everyone is just barely staying alive. The Metamorphosis used to keep our soldier alive at this point in time. But Glaurung going to end up falling. We have Panucci in the backline. I believe that was a triple blood for blood actually going down, removing him from the fight, and they're just continuing to push forward once they have that lead, because with Rhaegar and Uther, they can sustain and heal up so very well.
Yes, they timed that well with the end of that curse push. They were able to just finish up and do that damage. I can't stress enough how impactful that blood for blood is.
Yeah, I'm actually checking the cooldowns. They were all used within 3 seconds.
Yeah.
So they just found a target and they just went.
It's a good call. It just, like I said, that's 45% HP burst. And they're really just using Judgment not really to pick and choose a target, but to isolate some of the damage away from ETC that is likely. They're just waiting for ETC to move too far forward, Judgment someone else, and then throw the blood for bloods down.
Tempestorm is getting aggressive, but this is exactly what 2Arc expects. They know Stage Dive is available. There it goes, but everyone is here to party. Heroics, everything just about ready. Only 20 seconds left on that Divine Storm, and Tempestorm has to back out. They're down 2 levels right now.
Blood for Bloods are back up, so keep an eye on Glaurung's health bar. We just see it melt almost instantaneously. That will be the reason for it. And 2Arc does not want to give up this Golem.
They tried to set up a Zombie Wall Gargantuan, but it is whipped, and the Gargantuan just gets blown up very quickly. That is a heroic that did absolutely nothing. And right now, Tempo needs to retreat. They don't have that ability. The Odin is marching towards them, and they just have to be very careful.
Positionally, things look strong for 2Arc, although Glaurung still looking to march in with the rest of his team. With Tempo Storm, they still want to take this Golem if they can. I think they're going to try to take a team fight first, try to get that advantage. Of course, the Golem was leashed. All the progress that was made on its health bar was reset.
But those Blood for Bloods, we can't forget about them. Their burst potential is there. The Leaping Spiders have helped Nazeebo just have that continuous damage and vision of the enemy team.
I mean, of course, on the other side of the Blood for Blood is that it is a lifesteal, so it comes at a nice time, you know, in the middle of those fights. Okay, wait till we get ETC down to about half HP, burst him down. That's also a ton of health and sustain. They already have a lot between the 2 healers. This is why it's becoming so difficult for Tempo Storm to even isolate and kill any members of 2Arc.
Right, and they're going in, Glaurung in the front line, the Gargantuan off cooldown very quickly. It is back there. That means they're going to re-engage. Panucci is taking a lot of damage, and there is the Metamorphosis. Tranquility keeping Tempo Storm as healthy as possible. Glaurung needs to be careful. There's Blood for Bloods going off. He gets very low, but the Ancestral Healing will connect on Panucci, keeping him alive. Judgment onto Dreadnought. Ice Block is available. It will keep him alive, but no. Glaurung ends up falling. Furious D. The shields come out in the last second. He stays alive.
The healing is so on point for every member of 2Arc. I'm so impressed with this double hero style we really don't see played by them all that often. Everything about the talent choices that they have made between levels 13 and 16 with the double imposing presence and the triple Blood for Blood is having a massive, massive impact on these fights, and it's just so difficult for them to kill anyone. And here we have the Odin. They're going for the throw with the healing wards down. The sustain, that's an entire 20 seconds while Tempo Storm is down. That's it.
This Uther Steel has made it so much harder for Illidan to even get that damage he wants to do done. Look at his damage on this fight. It's below Tassadar. Nazeebo sitting at 70k. The effectiveness just wasn't there. He banks so hard on having the Divine Shield, on having the Ancestral to have that flexibility, and they just couldn't kill. It was 2 to 13 kills.
Yeah, that's very unlike what you would expect to see given the composition, but showing the power of Tyrael. I like it. Kudos to them.
And double support. I mean, just shining through.
Do you ban Tyrael? But here's the problem. You open up the possibility for them to take Zeratul Diablo, which they showcased game 1 versus Complexity. Really solid on their part 2. 2Arc, they came to play today. I really, really like it.
They did. Convincing game number 1 going to their side. But guys, we're going to get ready for the second game of this series. So we'll be back in just a few minutes. Stay with us for some more Heroes of the Storm action. Alrighty, guys, welcome back here to the ESL Major League Americas. I am joined by the Kubus Maximus.
And I'm joined by the great Solid Jake.
Ooh,
How's
such a
that?
fancy
So
title.
we were talking just now between the games. We're like, all right, we got to go back live because no sense in not sharing this sweet discussion with you guys, but we just can't help but harp on the triple blood for blood.
Man.
And how crazy it is. And we're just thinking, like, what if there was 4 on a team? 60% HP.
You just die.
You die. But the thing is, everything's about the positioning of the tank in these fights. And it's of the max HP. So even though the HP pool drops, I wonder if that gets changed eventually to being the current HP. I don't know. It's so hard to say.
I don't know. It seems really strong, and it seems like something that teams could find to abuse. But 2ARC actually is banning out Kerrigan on Dragonshy.
Does someone know something I don't know? What?
This is a map where we remember last night. Or no, that was today.
It was today.
That was today, where Complexity actually just devoured the souls of 2ARC on this map with 36 kills of Kerrigan aggression. They are actually being haunted hours later by that game on Dragonshy, where they're just like, no, we're not. We're not
doing that.
No,
We're not doing that again.
Not again. And Rhaegar will be banned out, so there will be no Uther Rhaegar in this game. But does 2ARC, do they prioritize the damage, or do they say, this Uther ours?
Well, I mean, it was working so good in that past game, but it happened to pan out against the rest of the composition. But if you take Uther, now all of a sudden he seems to work well with a couple of other heroes to deal with Illidan, especially that Tyrael.
That's true. That is very true. But 2ARC, they've got plenty of options. Jaina, Vala, ETC, Uther, they seem like the likely picks.
They seem to be okay with leaving that warrior pick. They'll let them spend picks early on, Tempo Storm, picking up ETC, and that means more damage for them.
Great point. But it's now Tempo's turn. They will very likely, almost definitely, grab Vala, unless they decide to just go Uther and then Illidan right off the bat. I don't think they'll pick Illidan again without securing Uther first.
Yeah, one of those two very big burst healers for sure. And I think that makes a lot of sense. We're going to see probably a very neutral damage pick or ETC, one of those two. So Tassadar Vala. No, it doesn't make sense to grab Nazir. It's going to be either Tassadar Vala if they want to go damage, neutral style damage, or they're going to take, Uther. All right, and Vala. So there it is.
But they open up the doors to a potential Illidan pickup later in this draft, and I really like that. Because you secure Vala and Uther, which gives you all the options in the world. They work in anything. Illidan kind of needs to be catered to a little bit more in terms of having the right kind of composition for him.
2ARC, as crazy as it's not, they have the option to take Stitches Tronda too. They have like the triple, the trifecta of the pick blow up style comp. Haven't seen them run too much of it as of late, but still an option that needs to be thought about.
Yeah.
Tassadar and who else did they grab? Zeratul? Oh, Diablo Zeratul? Yeah, I should have brought this up when we didn't see the Zeratul ban.
Because Jaina, Tyrande, and Diablo, that is scarifying.
Scarifying.
It's a word now, Kubi.
Is it because of the Lord of Terror?
It is, yeah.
Get it?
No, they go Tassadar. They just want to put that threat on the table. So, with Tassadar being picked up,
do we see a counter pick?
I think Tyrande. I think you have to react with Tyrande. I think you have to.
Or Zeratul too. I mean, you're forgetting about how dominant that game 1 was.
You're right.
For 2ARC in that last series against Complexity.
Oh, I don't want to think about that Zeratul play again. It
was good. It was good, man. They forced a lot of position, and they got all the value they needed out of APOC. The timings were all there. And you have Jaina on top of that? Gross.
Kubi, I played a game last night after the cast. I played one singular game as Sylvanas.
Yeah. How'd it go?
I was being hunted by a Nova and Zeratul the entire game. It was the worst game of my life. I don't know if they just hate me or they just hate Sylvanas, but these guys did not like me.
They got you. And
So,
you didn't have
Zeratul,
the safety.
he gives me bad dreams at this point.
Well, heart palpitations, maybe.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
And by a little bit, I mean like I might just collapse.
Oh, all right. So you got to think about that Zeratul pick. Not something that Tempo Storm has run all that much in the past weeks. Now that I think about it. So if we do see them grab it, it's really kind of Yeah, we respect your potential to land a lot of nice VPs in combination with Diablo Jaina. We're just gonna not let you take that.
Yeah, we just
We
it's
don't really
just
need you
not a
doing
big-
that, and there it
Yeah.
is.
I wonder, is this gonna be the team swapping up? Are we gonna see Glaurung shift from his tank role for this one match to play the Zero Tool? His Zero
Oh,
Tool
I see what you're saying.
is
Okay.
legend.
Oh,
It is actually
Oh.
legendary, and we haven't seen it in a long time. He is now no longer a flex, but as the shot caller of Tempest Storm, Glaurung typically runs the tank.
Yeah, that's a good point. Still, though, there are a ton of members of Tempo Storm that can flex into that role, whether that be Soldier or Arthalon. Or actually, I don't think I've seen KO really play too many melee assassins. So very likely that Soldier will probably be on Illidan, and I would guess Arthalon on Zeratul with KO on Vala. That's my guess. We'll see. How does 2-Arc finish this up? They still need to secure a healer. No Uther, no Rhaegar. And we talked about this going into the draft of the last game. They haven't played a game where they didn't pick up one of those two healers so far. Probably going to be Malf.
Yeah, it's actually very likely
You
to
see
see
the
Malfurion
Tychus?
in here.
They've been making good work with the
okay,
Tychus.
so it
Tychus
is
Malf.
I've always liked Malf on this map in general, and
Yeah.
2-Arc played a lot of Malfurion yesterday. So, not a big surprise. Between Tassadar and Malfurion, they have more than enough sustainability.
Okay, so very unlikely that we will see APOC, I would think. There's just no setup for it.
Yeah, there's no setup, but it still has a lot of control, but you're right. Without the Void Prison. But Tempo Storm, they've just got the Uther. They don't have the Toronto support. This will be a game where Toronto's not picked up, and ETC is still
Oh, I
on
was
the
gonna say
table, but they
Sonya.
go for...
I was gonna say, like, as soon as you were done with your thoughts, you're like, wait a minute, this could be a Sonya build.
Kubi. Her picture is so beautiful. That's Kubi's girl right there, guys.
I'm dancing. I'm doing a little dance.
I'll show you the dance.
No,
Keep
it's done.
doing
We're
it,
done.
Keep doing it.
Too embarrassed. I can't
Can't do
Not
it.
on point.
Crumbling under the pressure. He's
Yeah.
scarified.
Scarified. No, still with that. Look how pleased he is. No, chat, please don't let him do this. Oh.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Dragonshire is the map. I'm going to give the teams the
Yes.
go-ahead as Glaurung disconnects from the lobby.
Excellent.
Step it up, Glaurung.
Oh, he's back. Look at that. As soon as you
See?
type that, he's back. All right. Sonya, what does this mean? We've seen this run in the past with Sonya Leap, Metamorphosis, and Illidan. Yeah, of course that is on Illidan. Uther with the Divine Storm. Could also run Divine Shield. There's a lot of flexibility there.
Oh my goodness. The
Also the
Divine
VP.
Shield with Sonya makes me so happy.
Also
The
the-
Divine Shield with
yeah.
Illidan makes me so happy. This has got to be a Divine Shield game.
Yeah.
If I've ever seen one,
Yeah.
it's here.
Still, you can always argue for the lockdown. That,
Yep, true.
In addition to...
But on the other side, how many stuns are on that team to actually stop that whirlwind?
Diablo. And it's a
Grenade.
point-click target, so
Grenade.
it's something that's pretty easy to stop.
True. Okay.
Malfurion Silence.
That's what he does.
Is that...
He goes, and he silences everything.
Wish I
He
had that
spreads
kind of
his
power.
wings.
Could use it right now.
You just spread
For
your
you
wings.
and your silly puns.
Is that a pun?
No. I don't know. Scarify? What is that? Just
That's a-
silence, please.
Chick-English.
I know you're the one with the controls over there, but this
I
would
could
be
just
my
silence you.
thing. I know. Scary. He's got that power. All right. Okay, lobby's up. Okay, we have someone on a bio break real quick.
Okay. We can see the
Power Ranger,
Power
Viking.
Ranger Viking.
Please show. Please show. Yes, there it is.
As I
the
just
Power
hang my
Ranger
head
Viking.
in shame of the term Power Ranger Viking.
That's
which
what that is.
Apparently,
That is.
This is a Power Ranger
which
Viking.
one? Which one's the pink? Was it Kimberly? The
Yeah.
Power Ranger. Yep. That's it right there.
Kimberly. And
She had a giant half moon spike
this
thing
is,
on her
so
helmet,
this
right?
is Zach. We got Tommy. We got Tommy again.
Two Tommies.
He was green and white, Kubi. You know nothing.
I
guess
remember
the-
it.
I guess
That could be. Oh,
could be
Jason.
the Red
Is it
Ranger?
Jason. Yeah.
No one likes the Red Ranger. No one knows his name.
Pretty sure it was Jason.
Was it?
He was the leader.
He's also a jerk.
Why?
Because he was a jock.
Jake has. He's got some bad memories apparently.
Yep. I played football my whole life. Got the terrible memories of high school, of course. those darn
Gosh.
jocks.
Oh boy.
All right, guys. Dragonshire game 2. 1-0 advantage
two.
to 2-Arc Iliad. I hope you guys are ready for some great games because this series, it's going to be a long one.
Show no signs of stopping anytime soon. Let's get to introducing these teams. On the blue side, we have for 2Arc Gaming, we have Furious D on Tassadar. Trader is going to be playing Tychus. Panucci on Diablo. Quibsy will be playing Jaina. And Chubbs, he's going to be playing Malfurion. That's support role.
Kubi, let me say something.
Oh, yeah?
I miss the name of Sadia.
Do
I
you?
like the Sadia better than Chubbs.
Is it just roll off the tongue a little bit?
Sadia.
Sadia.
All right,
Well,
Dreadnought
rip a Sadia.
will be playing as Uther, the Red Ranger. We got Glaurung, the Black Ranger, playing as Zeratul. Soldier, the Green Ranger on Malfurion. Illidan, excuse me. All right, that skin, the Shando Illidan.
Shando.
It juked me. We got our Viking Power Ranger, Arthlon, playing Sonya. And last but not least, it's KO, being the Purple Ranger as Vala.
Double block boys. Wait, could be triple block boys?
These are the Teenage Mutant Ninja Tempo Storms.
Jake, triple block boys. How would you feel about that?
Triple
We could have it.
Black Boys.
Come on. Conjurer's pursuit of themes. They were going for themes last game with the triple blood for blood. Arthlon already getting really aggressive, but that lifesteal with the whirlwind is just too much. And we see a little bit of a traded damage, but no real progress made for either side.
And you see the ping coming up from Chubbs, just throwing down the Moonfire to reveal the location on the Uther, who is just soaking that bottom lane rather contently in. Wow, Dimensional Shift used to dodge the Ancient Spear of Sonya. And Glaurung just going to continue to get aggressive. I didn't even get to mention that. We are seeing Glaurung playing Zeratul.
Oh, yeah?
I got
You're
so
right.
hyped about that idea, and it's Arth. Wow, how am I just now realizing this? Ooh, I'm so excited.
Well, all right, to be fair, the role that Sonya has is not your traditional tank
True,
style, right?
true,
Okay,
true.
so it makes a little bit of sense, of course, that Arthlon is going to pick up this Sonya role. I think we've actually seen him play Sonya before when it was double. They were running this double warrior comp. So no stranger to this hero. Of course, Arthlon very flexible to play a ton of heroes as well.
Look at this aggression on both the top and bottom lane for each team. Just kind of going in, laying down as much damage as they possibly can. And Panucci actually took quite a bit of damage during that. So as we do see Glaurung in the middle. He's just making sure to soak that lane. He needs to be careful. The Blizzard comes down on the minion wave, and he's going to be just fine.
And as you mentioned, we do have that counter aggression in the top lane. Furious doing the best he can. This feels like a Haunted Minds game where it's just, you have these teams just trading massive aggression on either side. Still, we're going to see a two-tower trade for both teams.
Blizzard just doing so much damage right now. Arthlon and Soldier both have to back up with this slow, continuously coming out. The shields, the blocks, they're not going to be enough. And we do see the first blood going down on Arthlon, but KO trying to turn this around onto Quibsy. Not worth the risk.
It was smart. We saw the body blocking. He really wanted to just soak up the shots for... Well, actually, the body blocking should be enough to... I don't think Dreadnought can get out of here. The roots!
This is Dreadnuts as he is getting body blocked to death.
No, you can't leave.
Flipped, and he is just going to wander his little paladin self home slowly but surely.
That's not the path I expected him to have to use to get back to safety, but indeed it was.
And Zeratul did end up getting picked off, so that's 2 kills in favor of 2Arc right now.
Yeah, and the soak is also much in their favor. We have just about a level lead for 2Arc going into the early to mid game on Dragonshire for game number 2.
All right, the stun, the Ancient Spear, but the roots are enough to get Quibsy out of the situation. Well done by Chubbs.
Yeah, also the healing ward keeping them alive. Soldier says, we're not done here. We're going to apply a little bit of pressure, of course, popping that evasion to make sure that he stays alive. Panucci arriving just in time to sort of diffuse this aggression that we see Tempo Storm throwing down. Both of the shrines are now in control of Tempo Storm.
Yeah, but not for long. Chubbs is going to sit there on this bottom temple, restore it over to the blue side for 2Arc, with the rotation in the middle lane. I mean, Quibsy, his positioning, he's got to always be in check, because with Illidan, Sonya, and Zeratul, they can just dive on him so quickly. And that's the other thing. These are potentially 2 of the best jungle heroes in the game.
Good point.
You put them together?
They clean that up very, very quickly, of course. And they also have a ton of sustain. Don't need any healing, so they can keep those healers out on the map, helping to push.
Yes.
All right, level 7. It's just been picked up for 2Arc, and we see the static charge. Of course, that's just for the extra damage output. Oh, what's this? Ice Lance. The cooldown of Frostbolt reduced by 2 seconds. It gives you a little bit more sustained
kiting ability.
Yeah,
It's
as long
kiting
as it's on a chilled target. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
kiting ability, and you just get it might actually come into play right here.
All right, Dreadnought taking a ton of damage will end up falling. The rotation was there. They're trying to put this aggression in the top lane, and they did pick off Tassadar, so it's 1 for 1 right now. They have these bruisers, and they just seem to want to push in with them.
Glaurung doing his best he can to defuse the situation, just applying a bit of pressure and being sure to blink right out. Still, it's they've done a little bit to catch up in this experience deficit that they have, and especially taking this top 4 will bring them right back to just a bit below where 2ARC has, but they really want to make sure that they can get that race to 10. And they're going to leave the fort with just a little bit of HP left. Arthlon now all of a sudden in a bit of trouble.
But nice zoning from his allies, just forcing them back, disallowing them from continuing to push forward, and we do have Zeratul taking that bottom shrine. So both shrines will be controlled. Dreadnought will be forced off as Panucci does dive forward with that Shadow Charge. The flips onto Soldier, but with first aid and the heals from Uther, he's going to be all right.
Yeah, just barely. One more shot from those, and KO actually running out a bit of mana. That's actually going to be a block into the wall, and they do pick up another kill onto Vala.
Yeah, it's a big play, removing her. They have level 9. Their quest to 10 is well in their favor in the top lane. This battle between Arthalon and Fury C, I mean, it's not working out now. This composition for Tempo Storm, very much post 10. It's all about hitting level 10.
I think you're
and
right
2ARC has done a phenomenal job just getting the advantage in the early game, and they need to maintain that. But so far, all things considered, they're playing this game perfectly. Glaurung getting flipped, taking a lot of damage. Bolt of the Storm, or not Bolt, just general.
Yes!
The flame!
the fire stuff, I've never actually seen that be like the clutch spell that is cast to clean up a kill, but there it was. So exciting to see those kind of plays.
Papa Sham 2 is at home smiling
so
hard right now. Dreadnought will fall. Level 10 has been picked up. Arthlon is forced back. This game is really looking good for 2ARC Iliad, but Tempo Storm, they have the shrines controlled.
That does give them a little bit of control back to the map, I suppose. Yes, buys them time for them to collect their bearings with Dreadnought now falling. He's got another 3 seconds before he is back up.
So Dread has respawned. The team needs to regroup. They're going to have level 10. This is Tempo's time to turn the game around because they have to. They're a level down. Soldier taking a lot of damage, and there is the aggression. We have Illidan going forward in the backline, trying to catch up. Quibsy so low, gets blown up very quickly, but Soldier will fall. Arthalon following to the Lightning Breath, and they're trying to trade out. Chubbs doesn't have Ice Block yet. It's not level 13 quite yet, and Dreadnought's heals have been enough, but the Shadow Charge into Glaurung will eliminate him, and this Archon is going to chase out the rest of the team.
Kudos for a couple things. First of all, that Lightning Breath pretty much had at least 2 heroes in it at all times and contributed a large factor to a bunch of those kills. Also, the VP, like that fight was going super poorly for Tempo Storm, but they were able to isolate just the healer outside of the Void Prison and at least pick themselves up a couple kills. But still, we're at 8-3 in favor of 2ARC, and that's post 10. They were able to secure the early kill onto Jaina, but things turned around very quickly for 2ARC, and now they have themselves a dragon.
Yeah, and just look at this Tychus. People talk about Tychus being bad. Oh my goodness, Dreadnought just getting blown up here. This is starting to look so good for 2ARC. Continuing to push forward. They have a Dragonite. Glaurung, will he be flipped? Yes, he will. The heals of this Uther Ghost have allowed him to sustain through that fight, but the Dragonite, still sitting at half health, has plenty to give in this fight.
That's right, and they're just really molding this aggression that they have. They're keeping that momentum, that the double healing ward, and they're getting a ton of value out of this dragon. They're probably going to push through, break this wall for this the middle keep.
Yeah, I mean, the damage is real. The heroic leap is completely whiffed. Hit nothing, and they're just pushing forward. Arthalon is in a terrible position now. The stuns, the damage, the Dragonite will be punching out one of the targets, and they're just continuing to turn this damage on forward. Dreadnought once again just being slowed. The lead rain happens to be a bit too much for him. And actually, that wasn't even lead rain. That was just the slow of Jaina.
VP is nice, but there is going to be 0 follow-up for it. If anything, it was just to try to get the remaining members of Tempo Storm out. And Glaurung gets flipped over. We'll have the blink, but still, that's a lot of HP he can't be missing right now. The Uther Ghost is nowhere to be seen, of course. He is still on his cooldown for rezzing. And if he is in the Ghost form, then he can do a ton of healing with that 1.5 second heal. But 2ARC just looks absolutely dominant in all these team fights. Especially when we saw the leap whiffed. We also saw that Soldier on Illidan was flanking around the backside, and they had obviously called out a target in comms. They said, we're picking up this target. I'm pretty sure it was Jaina. And they said, as soon as they saw the Illidan go in, punt, the leap whiffed. Everyone was able to back up, get out of that particular position, and they just punished them super hard for whiffing those abilities.
And it's been dominant for 2ARC.
Yeah.
Uther has died 4 times in this game. Heroically, this time is good. I mean, Quibsy is blown up very quickly, but that lightning breath is doing so much damage to KO. KO needs to back out, gets out with just no health left. A big Divine Storm by Dreadnought, but Glaurung, they just don't have the health pools to stay alive. This laser drill is just tearing through their health pools, and the Tranquility is enough for the entire team to stay alive.
2 big things. One, yes, the laser drill that you pointed out, but also Malfurion plus Ice Block, Pop Tranquility. The entire fight happened within the range of that Tranquility, and only the one member, Jaina, dying for 2ARC, but that's just way too much sustain for you to try to fight through, and you can't even kill the source of it. That's probably one of the best cases for Ice Block plus Tranquility that I've ever seen.
This all really leads me to believe that they were actually considering to do something very aggressive like we saw from Complexity earlier today on Dragonshire versus 2ARC. We saw that Kerrigan game, and we saw 2ARC ban out that Kerrigan build. Yeah. Everything we've seen up to this point in time just has not had that same kind of aggressive success. Actually, it's the complete opposite. 13 kills for 2ARC, only 4 for the side of Tempostorm. 2ARC is playing out of their mind right now.
This is probably some of the best that I've ever seen 2ARC playing. They look so solid, really polished. They're obviously practiced and come prepared for the series. You know, I have to imagine that between yesterday's series and today, they probably have been studying.
They even told me, I spoke to Quibsy this morning when I woke up, and he's like, man, we were up all night, we were viewing those replays, thinking about it in our sleep, just analyzing the game over and over and over, and here they are with this run back versus Tempostorm, and it is showing.
That is the dedication that we need for these teams to win, really. I mean, you're going to take every advantage you can get, and it's going to come down to, at this point, the most dedicated team. Now, we, of course, have no idea what Tempostorm was doing last night. I'm sure that they have also been doing the same studying, but it just goes to show you the dedication that these players have.
Now, the laser drill positioning is very good right now. KO trying to blow it up. Yes, he does do that. The strafe is getting so much done. Chubbs will fall very quickly. Ice Block was not used quite in time, but the Lightning Breath is going to be enough to take out the Sonya. Trader going forward. Dreadnought getting flipped. The Ghost Form will reduce him, but he continued to keep Soldier alive. If Illidan can clean up this fight, amazing things will happen, but it's going to be such a tall order as the rest of his team has been destroyed.
Look at how well Uther's Ghost is able to keep Soldier alive, but it only lasts for a certain amount of time. I don't know if they're going to have enough abilities off cooldown. There's actually the follow-up with the Shadow Charge, and once again,
the Flames.
2ARC takes a ridiculous team fight.
17-5, another Dragonite will be picked up. Bala can't even go to contest that shrine because she has to clean up these mercenaries first, and the Dragonite will be scooped up. The aggression is here in the bottom lane.
Still a bit too early, I think, for them to just rush in to take a keep, but they are going to for sure take a bunch of pressure. The safe route would be to just rotate to the top lane and take the fort, but if they want to get aggressive, they can.
Now, what can Tempostorm do to get back in this game? I would have said they have to kill Malfurion first, but they did that in the last fight. Takubi, solutions.
Oh my goodness. I'm just looking back at the choice of heroics, maybe, but obviously they can't do anything to change that now. They have to really try to figure out, is that Holy Light? Holy Shock? That is.
They're going for the burst.
That's damage,
yeah. That's damage. So Uther getting aggressive. They're just trying something unique. The Spell Shield will help out quite a bit on Sonya, but it's level 17. 16 almost been achieved. Those talents are desperately needed right now for Tempostorm, and there it is.
Okay, Jake, this is what I really want to see. The VP used to initiate the fight. And I don't think we've really seen that yet. Something where the VP happens, and that's the setup for the leap. That's the setup for the Divine Storm. They haven't seen that yet, where they're catching 3 or 4 plus members with the Void Prison and the leap. They've been using it to really jump into the back line and isolate targets, which has been working to a little bit, but obviously the sustain that 2ARC has throughout these fights is too much for Tempostorm to deal with.
All right, Glaurung gets decloaked, backs up the flame, almost hitting him there. He's looking for that VP you mentioned. He's in the top, but the Moonfire revealing him. He has the opportunity, but where is the Void Prison? The leap going in with the Metamorphosis Divine Storm. That combo picks up 1 kill. Furious very low. Prescience keeps him alive, but Quibsy is next on the menu, and Quibsy will end up falling. Furious D is next. Arthlon in the backline Dread, they're both so very low. The Water Elemental keeping them zoned back, and Diablo, so Arthlon will end up falling. Oh, this is so very close on both sides. Soldier had chased out Fury C, but he was able to heal up rather quickly. Dread will end up falling to this damage. And man, they just flipped it around.
Yeah, they're not spending any focus on Diablo, and it just seems like he's always there to clean up the rest of these team fights. And like I said, they just didn't, like, they caught a couple members. They always seem to start these team fights up with a few members of Tempo Storm, or 2-Arc dying very quickly, but the sustain and the burst damage has already been done. So of course, like, they killed Jaina really fast, but the water element that was still there persists throughout the fight. And we saw that throwing down a ton of damage.
They're trying so hard, but this is so risky. Glaurung, KO, and Soldier pushing forward, but the amount of sustainability that each of these heroes have, it's so hard to kill a Tastar. They're just pushing them back, trying to buy space right now.
And we have the Benediction picked up at level 16, the double blood for blood on Illidan and Vala, just to try to increase that survivability. Nerves of Steel for Sonya, that's of course her version of Stone Skin, and the double bombs. All right, we do have the Imposing Presence too. That's another thing that we should mention for Diablo. It's really important. He's giving up a bit of damage with that, not taking the Firestorm, but this is really to absolutely to counter Illidan and make sure that he can't really spend any focus on Diablo, which is probably why we see him with so much HP at the end of these fights.
Yeah, that is actually a huge point to make. And, well, 2-Arc, they are very close to level 20. The shrines have spawned. They will control this bottom shrine, but I would be shocked if I don't see them getting aggressive. Now, look at this party bush. Tempo Storm realizes they need to make something big happen, and they're just going to Hearth.
And if you look at it from 2-Arc's perspective, they don't see any members of Tempo Storm even visible right now. They're going to say, yeah, we're not unless Tassadar is there to lead the vision for us with the Oracle, we're not doing anything crazy.
But 2-Arc also in the same boat. They're like, look, how do we throw here? We get caught out of position. Let's just go back, pick up our knights, and then push in. In the top lane, we have Quibsy currently defending these cruisers, and Tempo is able to rotate down. Dreadnought in position, and he does pick up the Dragon Knight. This is actually a big deal. This gives Tempo Storm a little bit of leverage on the map for the first time in a very long time in this game.
Yeah, that's a very, very good point to bring up. And that gives them quite a bit more CC to isolate certain members out of the fight if it does end up erupting. But got to keep in mind...
That's their healer.
Yeah, that's one. Yeah, that's their healer. But two is the Dragon Knight isn't necessarily the best team fighter. He's made for pushing, right? Yes, this late in the game, he's going to start to do a sizable amount of damage, but is it really worth the cost of the healer? I don't know how much they're going to get done push-wise with this Dragon Knight.
Looks like 0 because its health pool is already been pretty much removed. Now, they do have Glaurung and Arthlon across the map just catching up in experience. So they're actually using the Dragon Knight as more of a distraction to soak. Vala went back home. Glaurung still soaking this top lane. It's going to put them at level 90. They still have another full level before they even have those level 20 talents.
I think that makes a lot of sense for what they're doing. They realize they're not going to get a huge amount of push, so why don't we just use this opportunity to put presence on the map, force 2-Arc to be roaming here as 5 to deal with the Dragon Knight, and we can also take a bit of soak. Makes sense, but they still have a long way to go.
Right.
These levels, they sometimes feels like they take forever to get to level 20, and this is a huge, huge timing window for 2-Arc to try to take a lot of kills.
Yeah, but I mean, I gotta hand it to Tempo Storm. This is the kind of thing that will give them a chance to get back into the game. They've really started to shrink that level disadvantage that they had, and it's going to be really tough to take a fight in this situation. They are well aware of the position of 2-Arc right now, but they just cannot contest it.
Holy Shock plus Benediction. That's a little bit more burst out of Uther than you would expect. I just put those two together. I think that's a fun little combination.
It's interesting.
Whatever target gets leaped, Uther can Holy Shock Benediction, throw 2 of those off right in a row, and also get a stun in there.
That is true. That is true. We'll see if it works out. But the flip going in onto Soldier and the damage onto Panucci is significant right now. Tranquility will be used, but heroically will secure that kill. Here's the ice block by the Malfurion, but the VP stalling out the fight. This is the VP they've been needing the entire game. They're going for Chubbs. They want to eliminate those heals, but the level 20 range on that laser drill is just so much right now. Arthlon staying alive. Furiously with the Dimensional Shift still has prescience. Getting on out of there.
Panucci's back. He had the souls to get back into the fight, and is this really what's going to end up turning it around? And Soldier getting flipped in. The heals, the burst heals aren't quite enough. Are they going to be able to turn this fight around? That's the extra range on the Lightning Breath.
Goodness.
Yes, actually it has to cancel it due to the poor positioning, but still they have the chase potential. Is Arthlon and Dreadnought going to be able to get away?
This is so risky. Arthlon will surely end up dying here. Heroic Leap still on cooldown, and Dread is looking to be in a tight spot as well. The Roost to zone, a nice stun coming out. The Benediction double stun being used just for safety, and he dodges the Cone of Cold. The Frostbolt does miss.
Dread can't die here.
Oh, if he dies, that's game.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a little bit too much for them to handle. He doesn't quite have enough mana to make use of any of the spells right now.
He's got Redemption. It's level 20.
That's
He
true.
does have
Okay,
Redemption.
good point, good point. Good catch. Okay.
But
So they're making their final push forward onto this. It's going to be difficult for them to get any sustaining damage onto the 2 remaining members. Glaurung doing the best he can with the Wormhole. He does have Rewind. Keep this in mind. He's still putting a lot of pressure onto Quibsy.
bolt on Malfurion. If that bolt wasn't there, he was dead. But Panucci doesn't have souls. They do force them back. The revive, the redemption on. I get it eventually,
There
right?
we go.
Uther is alive. This game is just too intense right now. Going forward onto Fierce Either. The bomb's not going to be enough to get the kill, but they force him back, and they're still staying in this game. Tempo Storm, it's not match point, but if they go down 2-0, that is so hard to come back.
We haven't seen any of the teams in this playoff bracket go down 2-0 and still even make a comeback, let alone be in that position in the first place. This is, so far, the Dragon Knight Shrines are both for Tempo Storm. We just see the 2 Archers now just recapping the bottom shrine, but that was a very nice defense.
And they now have a hero advantage. 21-21. The levels are evened up. Diablo's still down for 20 seconds, and where is that Void Prison? They find Trader. That is one lockdown. Quibsy is a vulnerable target, but Glaurung needs to be careful. The heals are coming out. Tranquility is very early. The heroic leap hitting so many targets, followed by the Divine Storm, and they blow up Malfurion very quickly. There's the laser drill. They can focus it down, but no, they decide to disengage.
Needs to use that blink to get out. It's a smart way to disengage. They realize that now they have 55 seconds with no healer. I guess you can count Tassadar for a little bit of healing, but why don't they just take this opportunity to back up? It's so late in the game that they can go back, they can hearth, and find a new point to re-engage. They still have Metamorphosis. I didn't quite catch to see if it was used in that last fight.
I
think
believe
the
it is.
cooldown- Yeah, it's still up. It's still up.
And Soldier is very cautious. He uses it once he needs it.
Yeah.
If he's either going to get a kill or he's going to die.
Right.
That's when he uses it. And I like that style of Illidan. Now Glaurung in the middle. They do have both of these shrines right now. They're Fiercy is in position to stop this out, but the Ancient Spirit going in from our Sonya player, forcing him back. Glaurung will be able to get into this Dragon Knight, and this is going to net a lot of aggression for Tempo Storm.
Yeah, this is the first time that they really have felt in control on the map at any point in this game. The last time they even got the Dragon Knight, oh no!
Oh,
that is not at all what they needed. He's really been like the keystone for how these fights have been progressing so far. That you need that sustained damage.
Panucci.
Yeah,
utilizing that power of Diablo. We were so optimistic for Tempo Storm for a moment, but 2 Arc, they have taken a huge kill here, pushing forward. They're going to completely negate this Dragon Knight.
You want to talk about shutting momentum down? That's how it's done. And they really isolated that target.
That's like getting a new car and just crashing it the day you get it.
Worst analogy, I love it.
But man, 2 Arc, they have a handle on this game. The second it looks like Tempo Storm finally has some control on the map, they say no.
They shut it down. They really threaded the needle at that point, especially with the Dragon. It's just like, okay, this is the point where we're supposed to be taking a defensive stance, trying to mitigate as much damage as possible being thrown out from that Dragon Knight while they have map control. Now the Dragon is actually a little bit too far forward from the rest of the team. I guess that they're just trying to soak and just push the lanes back as far as possible without losing too many structures.
Now Illidan has respawned. The Dragon Knight did at least buy them some time. They took out a few towers, but 2 Arc, they're ready to rumble. All the heroics will be available. It'll be a 5v5 scenario, and the next fight could very well end the game in favor of 2 Arc. Tempo Storm, though, they still have a lot to push through in terms of structures.
Yes, we have we do have the Redemption back up. That has a fairly long cooldown. It's 3 minutes, so that time has transpired since the last fight. So just keep that in mind. That
Diablo Souls,
can get
same boat.
Diablo Souls are back up. He's hitting at 128, which also, we don't talk about this enough, but he has that, the Souls upgrade at level 1, where that's extra. It's so much extra tankiness. He is the tankiest hero in the game with those extra souls.
Yeah, it's true. And that's a great point to point out. Now, those Giants, they fall so quickly to 2J. Now, the Shadow Charge going in onto Glaurung, forcing out his Blink, and Soldier in the front line just dishing out a bit of damage. They force Tranquility. If they can disengage here, that's huge. The Void Prism going in, and they just blow up Trader. They completely separate him from the fight, but look at that Lightning Breath. Glaurung does end up falling to it, and he just turns his target to Soldier. Metamorphosis not available right now. Only Divine Storm remaining. KO is even hearthing. Soldier, or Arthlon in the front line. Divine Storm trying to just buy some time for the Whirlwind to heal him up. Oh no.
How many times now have we seen fights start off so strong And look at this. They're just following the Uther Ghost around. They know that he's going to be back up through that redemption, and they're just going to finish off this kill to take a 3-for-1 lead. Still, this stalls a bit of time, I guess, and that's how you want to look at it. But man, they started off that fight so awesome. They had a VP that locked out members, and they were able to blow up Tychus immediately in that fight. Still, when it popped out, the value they got off of that lightning breath, it was just there was nowhere to run. And the sustained healing, wow, are they actually going to be able to finish this off? Soldier is really doing an amazing job cleaning this up. They're down to 40% HP. Panucci, remember, he does have those souls. He will respawn, so it's not the end of the world. Chubbs having to use his ice block to keep it up. The lightning breath is going to actually be really close.
This is actually ridiculously close. Oh my goodness.
6%.
Tempo Storm defends that, but the golems, they are going to end it.
Still, though, we have, Tychus was going to be back up. Diablo did have the soul, so it wasn't like, a complete throw situation where they just put too many members onto the core and then ended up like tossing the game. And they still would have been able to defend, especially when you consider they still had the keeps up. Too many structures for Tempo Storm to pass back through. Wow, Jake. This is a 2-0 advantage. Like, this Tempo Storm, 2-Arc looks completely different from the series we saw yesterday. Everything looks super convincing.
They're playing so well, and the Tempo Storm went with a bit of a risky composition.
Yeah.
That was far from a normal composition. 3 melee, and they were just so ready for it. Diablo play was so good.
It really
so
was.
on point, making big plays. And we can just look at the stats here. Jaina rocking the 63,000. That's not the story. The story is the amount of heals Malfurion had. They would try to blow him up, and so many times Ice Block would be clutch and keep the rest of the team alive. That forced Tempo Storm to try to start taking out other teams, but Panucci was just peeling like a ridiculous demon boss.
And also his damage output too. Look,
it's high. It's very high.
Damage. You want to argue for whether Lightning Breath was effective in that game? That's your numbers right there.
You pointed it out in that first fight. At every moment, Lightning Breath was hitting a minimum of 2 people on Tempo Storm. And
they're finding the places for Diablo to park, and they got the extra range and duration on that. That also made a huge deal in that last fight.
That new car that Tempo Storm parked or bought.
You blew it. You had your chance.
All right, we're going to go to a commercial break as I bungle my stupid joke, guys. 2-Arc is up 2-0. This is the first time a team has had a 2-0 advantage this playoffs. So,
and they're putting Tempo Storm on the ropes here.
They are.
There's a possibility that Tempo Storm will be 3rd place in this playoff bracket.
Tempo Storm just lost 3 games in a row.
That's
hard
also
to
a
recover
very
from.
good point.
That's hard to recover from. So, guys, we're going to run to a quick commercial break, get the game number 3 lobby set up, and we'll be back in just a bit. Alrighty, guys, we are back here with the ESL Major League Americas.
I'm Kubi.
And I'm Jake.
Just Jake today?
Just Jake. Just
not,
Jake.
not feeling?
No.
I was about to say. Never mind. Moving on. Transition, please.
You almost got baited into that one.
Yeah, no, that. Oh God. All right. Let's just move on to game number 3, Blackhearts Bay. And you know what? It's crazy to say. Tempo Storm. I know. You're real excited about that rhyme.
Wasn't ready.
All right, we're going to Blackhearts Bay. And Tempo Storm, they're down 2-0.
That's
This
the
is-
first time we've had this happen.
First time in a long time that I can't even remember that they've been down 0-2 in any set.
Oh, God. Yeah, just Tempo
Tempo
Storm
Storm in
specific. Wow, yeah, you're right. I mean, these are the guys to beat.
Yeah.
And they are a game away from being eliminated and sitting in third place.
And have they ever been swept 3-0?
I don't
Ever?
think- No. Never. Unheard of.
They'd be the first team to do it, perhaps 2 are.
Unheard of.
But this is Tempo Storm's time to really bring it back and to shine. Oh, yes!
Gosh, Kobe, you are the rhyme master today. Making me proud.
Very good. So excited. All right, Tempo Storm banning out the Zeratul. Don't want to deal with that once again. All right, so Blackhearts Bay has been known in the past to have a strong presence for the Lost Vikings. Tempo Storm will run Lost Vikings 2 arc. I can't say I've ever seen them play Lost Vikings. Just doesn't really seem in their style. If I had to put it succinctly. Ooh, the vocab words. The vocab words.
All right, well, we have Zeratul as the first ban. And Tuark, they're going to respond with Kerrigan. Once again, trying to shut down the aggression. They banned Kerrigan on Dragonshire. They just played in Dragonshire.
Someone please fill me in. I don't get it. Temple Storm has
Kerrigan
not played
with
Kerrigan all tournament.
Yeah, but the threat of Divine Shield with Kerrigan is quite a thing.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that. But I guess it just seems like they're banning it out for just for the sake of banning it out. Yeah, obviously it did work from complexity, but Temple Storm has really shown no interest in even playing Kerrigan.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But all right, Rhaegar has been picked up. Tuark now has two choices. They've had an incredible amount of success with Diablo, and I don't see them prioritizing ETC because of their success.
Yeah.
So they're going to scoop up safe picks. Tassadar Jaina seems likely.
There it is. The only thing I can think of with the Kerrigan ban, as I said, the only thing so far today that has really given us a huge amount of trouble is Kerrigan. And we said, what's the one way we can lose? What's the only way we feel like we would be just thrown off a rocker here is Kerrigan.
Yep. So just remove it. Just outright remove it, because Glaurung on Kerrigan has ruined lives in previous times.
Yeah, previous times. Back in the day.
If you know what I mean.
It could also be, well, we've talked about this in the past too, the throwaway pick or throwaway ban. They really want to just force Tempo Storm into taking one of those two healers to start, and then Tuark is left to grab the two heavy damage dealers that they're comfortable with. So Kerrigan's scary, yeah. They're just like, all right, what's a healer or what's a hero that isn't really likely to be all that picked, but on the same token, is a threat that we've had trouble dealing with in the past.
Yeah, but they're gonna scoop up Vala Rhaegar, and do they prioritize Illidan once more? Now it hasn't been doing all that well for them, honestly.
I tell you right now, if we see the Illidan, don't see why Uther and Tyrael wouldn't once again be picked up. Okay, and I think it's smart for them to grab the Tychus.
So let's just think about other things that could work instead of Illidan with the big Ancestral. Ancestral is huge on even things like ETC. They have a lot of damage between Vala and Tychus, so they're going to need a tank. I would almost prefer to see ETC Zagara.
I think those are just some solid picks all around that the team is incredibly comfortable playing. Let's not try to throw any shenanigans at Tuark. Let's just have a really clean match on Blackheart's Bay to try to get us some morale back, some tempo back. Get it? Huh? Nice.
But rhymes and dad jokes. What a guy.
Oh, man, I'm on fire.
So yes. Diablo has been picked up.
Oh, get it! Diablo on fire! Oh, sorry. All right.
Okay. Calm down, Champ 2.
All right.
And they got the option for Uther, and it seems like just such a clean, easy pick for them. But do they even need to prioritize it? They did steal Uther Rhaegar earlier, and Tempo Storm is in a position where they could do that themselves. So I would be a bit surprised if Tuark did not grab Uther here.
I think, yeah, it definitely makes a lot of sense. Also, Tyrande, maybe?
Yeah, she's on the table
Mouth.
for sure. But they go for Mouth.
They're getting a lot of value out of the
Yeah,
Mouth
they
Diablo
have been.
combo last game. Diablo just being unkillable, Mouth with the ice block and tranquility. They were so good at making sure that they could keep the fight around a particular point. That's a skill that we can't highlight enough.
True.
The problem with Lightning Breath, you can just walk away from it. Problem with Tranquility, again, walk away, wait for the time. Even Odin, they seem to prioritize getting the Odin and making that work as well. So Tuark just seems to have a knack for that. And even a stationary target like Lightning Breath, like the ice blocked Malfurion, they make it work.
So Tempo has a very clean, very powerful composition, but I mean Tuark, they've been showing they know how to fight against this Illidan so well with this style between Malfurion and Diablo. We'll see if this pans out. Now they have a final pick. They could go for Tyrande. It's not out of the question. You're talking Tassadar, Tyrande, Malfurion. Seems like overkill, but they could also pick up something like Zagara, because we know they do like that. To have that,
there's a lot of they could take Uther as well. Like they aren't really known for running the double support that much, but it looked real solid game number one. And they had this double support. I think it was Uther Malf, right?
I think Tassadar, Malfurion, Tyrande's overkill enough as it is. So I think Tyrande would make more sense in that regard, just considering the flip with the Blizzard and the Lunar Flare and the Hunter's Mark to really blow up.
That is also a very good option. Zagara as well.
Yeah. So they have a lot of picks here.
and they have to look at what Tempo Storm has. They need to make sure that they're dealing with Illidan, probably the biggest wild card in that composition. That's like, okay, if we can deal with Illidan, everything else is standard play in terms of just trying to shut Tempo Storm out and try to get this clean sweep. But we have to, think about like what is Tempo Storm planning for this to really start to mount this comeback. Down to 27 seconds.
Yeah, they're
in
thinking
this bonus
hard.
pool for this last pick.
They're just weighing all of their options, and that's what you do. If this is match point for you, if this game can net you a grand finals, you take every moment you have to think of all your different options. They're just weighing in, giving all their opinions. They're going to be coming to a conclusion in just a few moments. And will it be the Tyrande, or do they do something crazy? Maybe just a Tyrael? But it is Zagara.
Zagara, okay.
More damage and the control over the battlefield.
Yeah, she's going to have a very nice presence in that bottom lane. With the wards, it's so difficult to rotate onto to kill her. And, also she's quite good at just making sure she keeps control over the chests in the bottom lane. I like the Zagara pick, and they've shown that they're quite comfortable running her as well. Also the potential for the the Maw into Apocalypse.
It's huge. And we've seen big VP's Apocalypse. Maw still has that same kind of potential, not quite as strong, but still very good. Guys, we're going into game number 3. It is match point for 2ARC.
Yes, Tempo Storm needs to rally back. They need to show that they're still in this to win it. And if there's a time to wake up and really showcase your skill as a team, that you guys are ready to win this, it's now. It is now.
And we're going to see if they are able to bring this back. I believe in Tempo Storm and bringing this to game number 5. Game number 4 at that, but I want game 5 for every
Let's not
series.
get ahead of ourselves just one game at a time, Jake.
Game number 5 for every series. That's how it's going to go today.
But I can't stress this enough. This would be probably the biggest win that 2ARC
has ever
had as a team.
Ever.
If they were able to completely shut out Tempo Storm, that in itself, doesn't matter what happens
They're
in
the
the grand
first team
finals.
in the history
That
to
will
ever do
show how much 2ARC has improved over these past 2 months. Like, incredible. More so than any other team that we've seen.
It's all going to be decided here. Can 2ARC do it? We will introduce them in a bit, but in the blue, we have Tempo Storm with Dreadnought playing Rhaegar, Soldier on Illidan, Glowering on ETC, Arthon playing Tychus and KO, rounding out the roster on Vala. This is a rock-solid squad, but there is another squad opposing them.
And on the red side, we have Furious Steez going to be playing Tassadar, Quibsy on Jaina. Chubbs will be playing Malfurion. Panucci, of course, once again will be on the Diablo. And, of course, Trader playing that Zagara.
Kubi made faces at me when I called them a rock-solid composition for having ETC, but I'm going to keep doing it forever.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, I deserve it for
Look at all
those
those-
terrible,
look at all
like
those
that
gold
string of
points.
3 jokes that I made.
Yeah,
that was.
That was the hardest draft I've ever done. Just kind of had to tune out for a bit. I was just like, geez, these are relentless. All right, Black Heart's Bay. The objective, collect coins, plunder, and turn them into Blackheart to just siege your enemies. Typically see a 4-1 split on this map, and that will be true to this game today.
Yeah, and we talked about the power of the wards that Zagara has just to keep control and vision over this bottom portion of the map. She will be able to push hard uncontested, and she's going to have a good amount of advance notice if a rotation happens to swing down in that direction.
Yeah, that is the power of Zagara just in general for that vision, because, yeah, sure, Tychus can remove the creep if he wants to spend his overkill and if he wants to spend his grenades to apply that aggression. But KO is taking so much damage. The roots lock him in place for a good amount of time, but he's going to be able to vault it into place, and they do pick up the first kill on Diablo. Very nice start here for Tempo Storm. That will net them 5 points in the top, and yes, the bottom lane has been won by Trader. In terms of solo laning, Zagara is, in terms of a specialist, probably the best in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's no doubt in anyone's mind about that. Good point to make. So we will see the Zagara. We'll be paying attention to the amount of progress that she makes down there, the pressure that she forces out for Tempo Storm to try to react to that. But a good kill to start off this match for Tempo Storm. They were able to isolate Panucci, just getting a little bit overextended to try and get that kill.
And again, this how safe Zagara is to push all she wants. She has complete vision in the bottom lane, something that you just cannot stress enough as to how powerful that is, especially on a map like this, covering all options. But Tempestorm, they do have a bit of experience lead, and they're going to want to try to pick up more kills like that first one. But it's going to be tough because considering the enemy team is the one that has the Diablo Jaina, their pick potential is very high as well.
Check out this bottom lane. I mean, there's creep everywhere.
It's actually
there's
like,
no way to gank Trader.
No.
Also, 200% increased health restoration on creep. Probably imagine that he's going to grab the increased range on the creep as well at level 7. So this is going to be the whole bottom side of this map is just going to be covered.
Yeah.
And the team can feel very confident that there's no way that Zagara will get ganked, and Arthon is really just forced to defend as best as he can, but he will just be, put to a minimum, like his effectiveness.
Yeah, and Zagara did pick up the event spines, and that just gives her more range and more threat with just every single auto attack. And during this, we have Tempestorm rotating back into their mercenary camps. They're going to pick up these giants very quickly, but we see Malf is currently working on some of these pirates. Now, it's very likely that Malf will trade places with Zagara to let Zagara go in the jungle at some point in the game, but they don't have to. They can just collect the pirate camps, and they're doing that just right now. We can see 11 to 11 in terms of points, and Tempo is looking for the first turn-in, using the far side of Rhaegar to provide themselves with a buffer to make sure they know they're safe.
Smart play. They haven't dealt any damage to the structures on the opposing side of the mid lane, so this won't actually be a fort to start this game off, but they could just end up rotating out to apply a bit of pressure to get themselves a nice little experience boost.
And the damage being traded out rather effectively here from KO and Chubbs, looking nice on both sides. And these giants have helped Tychus get a handle on this lane. The rotation with both Dread and Soldier picking up these bruisers. What a better way to deal with a Zagara oppression than just picking up Merc camps and providing additional aggression?
Very good point. But you have to consider, aside from the Merc camps, they had to spend a lot of resources hero-wise to send 3 people down just to take back that lane. If that's the power that Zagara has, I'm sure that they're more than happy to push this back. But now, when we're at the point where we're starting to lose the wall, now you've taken a lot more progress than Zagara has, and I'm sure the Tempestorm are more than happy at this point to take that trade.
Yeah, so trade out the middle lane. Now that does mean that once Tuareg does get a turn-in, this middle fort, actually they probably aren't even going to need it. They're just going to power through it.
Malfurion takes the mule, and that is going to be a considerable amount of HP restored back to that middle fort. We'll probably still get a couple cannon shots. Wow, look at this bottom lane.
No, that's not the story. The story is Zagara just died, and she had 5 points. Soldier was able to scoop up those 5 points. So yeah, the kill is nice, but really, it's more about the 5 points that Zagara was able to pick up. Very nice play, and it puts 2 kills to 0 on the board in favor of Tempestorm.
And you can see the posture of the two archers. They want to make sure that they keep this middle fort off of pressure, really, because they know that the mule, given some time, will be able to keep this alive and soak up so many more cannon shots.
Soldier is just ruining Trader right now. Absolutely just decimated him in a 1v1, dodging the blizzard. Soldier is on fire right now, but he needs to be careful. He's going for Quipsy, but the roots will connect, and that's 5 coins he will be handing back over to the side of Tuareg Iliad, and
that was just a bait and switch.
Bait and switch.
Simple as it gets. They, just Soldier's getting a little bit overconfident with, where he what he could get away with trying to. Obviously, picking up the kill on Quibsy would have been incredible. Like, just pacing-wise for the rest of the team, that would have been so much closer to level 10, and just taking a huge dominant stance with the momentum moving forward.
But they do have a level lead. Fort to fort has been traded out. Tuareg is just going to play together. They're sticking together at this moment, starting to get more creep spread on the map. You talked about the level 7 talent, Endless Creep. It was, in fact, picked up here, and that just gives him ridiculous creep spread for every tumor that is put down.
Once again, the Ice Lance talent picked up.
Oh my gosh. They are just...
look at this. This is a very aggressive boss, but if it's a surprise to us, I'm sure it will also come as a surprise to Arc. They don't have the vision up at this point in the map, and they're going to see that ping and go, oh, that's what they were doing.
Yeah, that's a big pickup here for Tempestorm. Picking up a quick stage dive, level 10 advantage. No heroics available, but Soldier taking a lot of damage, forced to use that Metamorphosis. We see the Ancestral going off on top of that, and just the push in from Tempestorm is real. Odin in the back line, laying waste to everything in its path. They don't even need this Golem to burn through this keep.
Yeah, it might seem like a bit of a waste, considering that they didn't get any of the kills, but right, we have the Golem, and they know that by the time 2-Arc even hits level 10, all of those heroics will have come back off cooldown. Why not just take the guaranteed set of forts here?
Now, Tuark is sitting on 20 coins right now. They need to be careful with that. Panucci, their tank, that frontliner, is sitting on 11 of them. They would love to turn them in, but the aggression from Tempostorm is keeping them in a defensive posture. The boss in the top lane doing decent work. He's going to get through the majority of that wall. And Tempo, they can actually turn around and start to turn in their coins. They have exactly enough for a nether bombardment.
So far, I mean, you'll just look at the kills, 3 to 1. Although it seems like they just have been putting so much more pressure on the map. But as it is with the turn-ins they've already done, and the structural damage really tells the story that this game so far has been very heavily in Tempostorm's favor. This is the kind of play we need to see out of them to really bring this series back, though.
Yeah, I mean, if there's a map to do it, Blackheart's a good one here. For sure, the Siege will go in. 10 of the 11 coins sitting on our Diablo player have been turned into Blackheart, and that's the first bombard, which, well, we know this middle keep fell. It's going to take out the tower, and then it will not be able to take out the top keep in this game. Kubi, how much of an impact do you think the Mule will have on this match?
Over the course of the game, it's you can argue for the first fort. It will always get you a guaranteed amount of, assuming that they don't put any pressure on that. You know, they can always get the heal back. Jake just shaking his head at that, that stage dive.
Just provides so much aggression. This is forcing the hearth out of Panucci. The rest of the team, they're rotating back, but they're currently chasing KO, who is slipping away. Dread, considering turning in those 9 coins, will be warded away by Quipsy, and the damage has been done. The wall has been taken out entirely, and those giants will do their job. This will provide a buffer for Tempostorm to get yet another turn in, and that will take out the middle fort in its hole.
I gotta back to the Mule question. You're giving up a lot of the heal, and they've been used to playing with that. The buffed amount of heal that Malphite, and it's made a big difference in a lot of their fights, and now they're giving that up. And all it really requires is a bit of an adjustment from Tempostorm. They just need to commit a little bit harder to make sure that they can finish off the structures that they start to damage. There will be a couple of opportunities where Mule will get its value. I'm not questioning that, but whether or not it's the right call to take that over the increased healing, I'm not so sure yet.
Well, we got Merc camps being picked up across the map. We'll see if the Mule does pay off in this game, but Tempostorm is getting aggressive in this bottom lane once again. They're going to clean up those giants with rather, haste, and they're just going to continue this aggression forward, escorting their knights on in to provide just yet another distraction on the map.
Okay, yeah, their Tuark is on the narrow chokehold of this bridge on the bottom lane. They're trying to make sure that they keep their keeps alive. This is a significant level deficit, 2 levels down at this point. That's the level 13 talents, the coins, about even at this point.
Except for those chests. Yeah, those chests giving 10 coins over to Tempostorm, netting them just about 21 coins. But the stage dive will be used before ETC can finish the top test. Now, they do maw him, but that's maw being spent to stop one target from aggressing forward, and Panucci will be blown up so very quickly. Trader caught in a hard place where he will not be able to get out. 2-0 in favor of Tempostorm, and Tuark is on the back foot. Moving back, this is another turn-in.
Yeah, this should kill the keep in the middle lane. Diablo is back up, but not before they're able to stop the turn in. That's going to give even more map presence to Tempostorm.
Look at this rotation coming up. They don't have Zagara right now. They are down. They've overstayed their welcome a little bit, and Tempo is moving in. They're looking at Panucci, body blocking with Illidan, forcing him back. That's going to be a kill. 1 coin from that. Quibsy sitting on 4 coins. Going to be dropping those in just a moment. Tempo continuing to rack up the kills. 7-1. It's their time to finally come back in this series. They have a 3-level lead, Kubi.
Yeah. I think at this point, Tuark might be throwing their hands up a little bit and like, okay, guys.
We'll take it
you have proved your point. We see you're still in this series. You've come to fight for sure. And there's a lot to be said. And I'm thinking back to my StarCraft viewing days, right, where you have a situation where you have been down an entire game, okay, and there's just it's gonna take a miracle to get back. And you have that mentality during the whole game. We're behind. We're down. It takes a toll on you. And there might actually come a point where they just say, okay, we're up 2-0.
Just cut your loss.
Perhaps
just collect yourself.
I mean, obviously they're not going to completely give up on this game, but they're
right.
I think mentally they have to keep this in their head, like, okay, it's just this one game. We can take this loss, bring it to the next game.
Yeah.
Really try to reset. They have proven that they are capable of really sniffing out these comebacks that the teams are throwing down, especially the complexity. They can say, okay, we can do this. We can shut this momentum down. They're very capable of doing it.
But Tempo Storm is abusing that global presence they have with ETC and the vulnerable keep they have in this bottom lane. Glaurung is pushing forward with these Siege Giants. There are 2 more Siege Giants available, and this is keeping Tuark like hesitant as to what to do, while the rest of the team scoops up a boss.
Yeah, and of course that presence for Glaurung, you can just stage dive up at any point. It's just such an obnoxious little, an annoying thing that you have to constantly be worrying about. And even if you go down to just try to stop it and put so much effort into it, the rest of the team from the enemy side is across the map taking objectives, and you've just forced out 1 heroic and didn't even get a kill for it.
These Giants are still pushing. The Mule is doing its job the best he can. If the boss deals a decent amount of damage, 1 more siege will take out the top keep. They can collapse on the Glaurung. They might force out the stage dive here, and yes, they're going to do just that. He needs to stage dive, and he needs to do it now. And the rest of the team is not going to be able to get here. Glaurung will be donating 5 points if he ends up falling.
He doesn't have any mana anymore, and I think they actually interrupted the stage dive to the point where the full cooldown triggered.
Wow. So that is a big pickup, but
it really is.
During all that, the siege happened. The boss is pushing on in. He did donate 5 coins, but maybe a sacrifice was worthwhile. I think Tempo was aware of what was happening in that situation.
Yeah, that was actually a little bit strange. I was looking at ETC's cooldowns, and it showed the 100 seconds for his stage dive, but I'm not seeing it triggered on the sidebar, so I'm not sure if that's a UI bug. We'll have to check into that a little bit later. But even still, they obviously interrupted the startup of it, so nicely played for Panucci to recognize the startup animation of that and to pick up that kill.
And after losing ETC, they translated it into a turn-in, a boss that pushed in, killed a keep, and they are literally collecting every coin on the map. They just picked up just about every single mercenary kip except for these Giants, and it put them back at 9 coins, even though they did end up donating 5 over.
Makes complete sense. Soldier just making sure that he cleans up the creep around the map, doesn't want to overextend a little bit too much. Yeah, you can see 2 arcs. They're just rotating. Oh, is he trying to take the pirate camp? Let's try to punish him for that. Soldier knows better.
Yep.
Not going to overextend. But you're right, they're playing the PvE aspect of the game. They have a giant lead at this point. There's no need for them to engage. If they see 2 arc, they just leave. Go collect coins elsewhere.
Yeah, 18 to 16 right now at this point in time, and 2 arc they want to try to turn in. They're sitting on 11. They need 14, but even getting those 11 in, that's a big deal.
So we do have the imposing presence now, level 16 for Diablo. That should help to mitigate some of the damage output for Illidan. The Tenacious Roots, that's the extra size on the roots and lasts a little bit longer. So hopefully they can make use of some of these talents to try to swing this game back, but they have to get aggressive somewhere. The onus is absolutely on 2 arc to start a fight and really capitalize on it to bring this game back.
A big maw is pretty much necessary at this point in time. 2 arc is able to sneak on and grab 2 of those, grab the Giants and 2 coins, and that's quite nice, but during all of this, ETC is just being obnoxious, abusing that global presence. The Knights are pushing in, but the Mule is keeping this last keep alive.
Yeah, it's restoring the ammo too. That's another big thing that we have to really bring up, because eventually these types of pushes will just force the keep to be out of ammunition, and the creeps will push it down. And it's not going to be the case because we do have that restored ammunition. KO just applying a bit of pressure to that top chest, and it's going to force 2 arc back.
Yeah, respecting the roots. Glaurung doesn't want to push in all too hard, and it's 17 coins on the board here for Tempo Storm. That's a lot of coins, but only 3 are needed for a turn-in for 2 arc. Panucci going in with the Shadow Charge. Illidan going in very far, but Panucci is getting bursted so quickly. Tranquility is going to be enough, and the Maw connects with Dreadnought, so that's going to limit the sustainability available. Where is the Ancestral? When is it needed? Not quite yet. They're all staying so nice and healthy just from their own sustain, and Quibsy's going to end up falling in the back.
So that's bringing 2 arc down to these 3 members that are left here, and the Metamorphosis is thrown down. Furious D forced to back up. Soldier still providing that chase, and the additional kill onto Zagara. Furious D will surely fall. Panucci, of course, rezzed back up through the use of his souls, but might have overextended a little bit. Chubb's just trying to provide a path for him to escape through with those roots, but it's not going to be enough. Diablo now falls. Zagara is down. Jaina's down for another 20 seconds. I think this is probably going to trigger 2 arc to move in for the kill.
And by 2 arc, he means Tempo Storm. They are just going to knock on the door of that core, just smacking away, dishing out all the damage they can. and they're going to try to secure the win. The defense is going to have to be something miraculous. Arthalon is getting very low, but the shields come out. The healing ward is being stood on by a combination of Dread and Glaurung, and Dreadnought getting very low, but look at the health on this core. Soldier alone should be able to solo it, and just a single melting point coming out from Arthalon at the end. Not even needed.
And that's it. That is the start. That is the start of the comeback for Tempo Storm. But again, I can't stress enough. We've seen Tuark has been in really dicey spots, especially in that first set of the losers bracket. And
they're resilient.
Yeah, they are resilient. They know, like, okay, they've got some momentum right now. Let's just shut it down. Keep it cool. Shut it down.
Keep it simple. Keep it clean. Keep it cool. The series is far from over, and Tuark is well aware of that. Tempo Storm, this is breathing room. This is a confidence booster. They just took the first game out of the last 4. They lost to Maelstrom, then they fell 2-0. This is a big momentum swing for them. Can they bring it back? We'll find out in just a bit. We're going to throw in a quick commercial break.
Stay tuned, guys.
Ladies and gentle nerds, welcome back to the ESL Major League Americas. I am Solid Jake,
And I'm Kubi.
and we are going to get ready for the draft for game number 4. Go when ready.
Oh, I didn't know you could type with that.
I totally
Type
have
without-
14 typos in that.
You messed up. You didn't. What is that slash at the end?
I don't know.
Guys, he goofed. He actually can't type without looking. Didn't pass keyboarding in high school. Such a shame.
It's a shame.
All right. This is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th set we've had go past game number 3. Temple Storm bringing it back.
And Glaurung is saying, we have our second win.
they're
He's
not
excited.
murdered. They're not murdered, but they got their second win.
Oh,
Get it? Yes.
Do they need a triple win later today?
That's
We'll find out.
I don't,
That's talent.
No, it's not.
Third win?
Triple win. Third win, maybe. I
Yeah.
don't, is it?
Triple?
I can't remember the name of it. No, it's Stoneform. There's no triple win.
There is a triple win.
No. Jake, are you making me go to the reference book?
Yep. Goofy's going to pull up the reference
Oh.
book. We have informed the team.
Is this for a bag of flips?
Sure.
All right.
For a bag of flips.
That there's no
I'm
tri-
going to go to the draft, which has started. We didn't have eyes on it. Rhaegar Kerrigan, once again, the bans. But Vala is going to be the first pick.
Kerrigan, once again, they're still remaining steadfast in that sense that they do not want to allow what appears to be a giant gap in their armor. Kerrigan.
Yep.
The one game that was easily the most convincing game that we have seen throughout this whole tournament. Jake is really eager to see if Meriden has a triple win.
Third or triple, whatever it's
Ah,
Yeah.
no!
Flips. No.
Ah, come on.
Kubi
I
doesn't
thought it
know
was
his-
called second. Oh, his trait's called second wind. Oh, God, why did I know this? All right.
Gets rocked. Kubi gets rocked.
All
That's
right,
what you
okay.
get for not knowing your talent names.
Yeah, sorry, guys. I failed you. All right. Let's get into this draft. Now, Temple Storm showed that there was nothing particularly special about that composition they ran last game. Illidan, ETC, Tychus, Vala, Rhaegar. It's just, other than, I suppose, getting Rhaegar plus Illidan, it's nothing that any of these teams haven't been prepared to deal with going into this tournament. So they're saying, okay, we still have it. We're still feeling comfortable running whatever. We don't need to run any crazy strategies to get our momentum back. We can pick normal comps.
That's true.
I like
And
that.
I like the early pickup on Jaina. She has gotten she's picked up a lot of pace lately and just a lot of steam. She's really got that damage in this patch, and teams are really prioritizing her. But with Rhaegar banned out, does Tempo, do they crutch on Uther, or do they leave it? Because this is Sky Temple, and heals are rather impactful on this map.
Yeah.
I almost would like to see them steal Diablo right now.
Tempo.
Yeah. I want to see them pick up. No, they're going for Uther. I would love to see a Diablo denial, because Diablo has been doing work every single game.
Although I got to point out, in that last game, the positioning oftentimes for the Lightning Breath was good, but it is one of those heroes where when you're behind, it's hard to make plays with that Lightning Breath. Okay? Illidan is also another hero that's like that. When you're behind, he struggles to make comeback plays.
It's true. It's true. Wow.
Okay, what is left? So we do have that Uther picked up for Temple Storm. This sort of opens up options for a lot of what they might try to grab later on in the pick. What have we seen them run in the past? Even Sonya, Illidan's still on the table. Does Tuark try to steal this away?
We'll see. They're going to actually stick to a more neutral thing. They pick up Tychus as one of their big damage dealers. And Malf has been doing wonders. They've been having Malf Diablo. I feel like it's smart to... No, they don't have to lock into Diablo. They can grab Tyrael later on. I would grab Tyrande here if I was Tuark.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Because you're just leaving open the Diablo Tyrande pick for Temple Storm. I think they need to make sure.
Go Taz.
Okay, we'll see if that's what they follow up with. Temple Storm has been known to run this particular composition, catch a very, very strong early game, and the games that Tuark has won here, they've been very dominant in the early game,
Yeah.
holding that lead throughout the rest of the game and just relying on those.
I'd be so happy to see Diablo Tyrande right now. Just the composition, it doesn't matter what you get for your final pick. You're in a great spot. We'll see. We'll see. Because that gives you the heals with Tyrande Uther, you've got that, the Hunter's Mark, the Lunar Flare, the Flip, and they haven't really been able to pick that up at all in either of these last two series.
Very good point. Yeah, Diablo has always gone the way of Tempo Storm.
Two-arc.
Actually, yeah, jeez. All right, but no, they picked up Tyrael for the first game, so I can't say that.
But
Yeah, I know. I would like it. I think that's probably the best thing the Tempo Storm could grab here is definitely the Diablo Tyrande. Duranda. Duranda. They're really giving this some thought, and it is a very impactful pick in terms of what's going to happen for the rest of this draft. There's the Diablo, and there's the. No, they want more time.
I want time.
I think it makes a lot. Oh, it's such a scary lineup that they have set themselves up for.
It's not unbeatable though,
No,
because
it's not.
you gotta think who's on the table. Oh, hey, Zeratul, look, he's available. That's cool. But they don't have that Apocalypse, so it's also a denial on the Zeratul Diablo Apocalypse composition that's available. But even still, I think Tuark's gone too far to actually have been able to pick up Zeratul at this point in time. They need the heals, they need the tank, and they do lock in the Tyrande. So no surprise, this is just so well-rounded and so tried and proven to be an incredible lineup on Tempo Storm.
Tuark, they just have themselves a nice set of damage dealers, and what they pick up for the healers moving forward. They've shown that they're comfortable grabbing the Malf. I think that will sure be their healer. Are they going to go for the Tyrael? It kind of seems like they picked this up in compositions where it's just like, okay, we could go for one of the other, either not I guess ETC. They don't really like to run ETC that much. It seems they will do it if they need to, but where the lineup doesn't. Yeah, okay, I was gonna say Tyrael Malf, right? It's got to be.
Yeah, it definitely should be.
Okay. What do you think will be the final pick for Tempo Storm?
Unmuting myself is generally a good idea. Malfurion should lock in this final pick. I would have to agree with you. They've had a lot of success with that throughout the entire series. But on the side of Tempo, I want to see the queen herself. Sagara.
There's a lot of queens now.
No, but she's the queen. She's a unit. The unit's called a queen.
Yeah,
so therefore she's the queen.
I get it.
You know?
Sylvanas is a queen too. Obviously, she's banned out for this tournament. But
Sylvanas is not a
she's
queen.
a Banshee queen, isn't he?
Oh, yeah, she is.
Ah! Gotcha.
Damn.
It's not fast enough. All right. Again, taking their time with this. What healer do they want? So, what are they weighing out right now?
They got to be weighing out
Brightwing?
options like, what if Tempo decided to go Illidan, right? Maybe that makes Brightwing a good pick. Brightwing makes... Illidan still makes a ton of sense with this composition because Divine Shield, we've seen how well they like to run that. And that just gives them this incredibly aggressive composition. Illidan has the presence across the map. He can lane very well and he can jungle. And this is a map by having someone that is strong in the jungle by themselves is actually rather valuable. We tend to see heroes like Sonya or Illidan, if they're picked up, they will just roam around and pick up those objectives. And that's got to be on Tempo Storm's radar right now. So, Tuark is considering...
It's going to be Brightwing.
Right?
Just thought of it. If you are on point and you poly the Diablo as he uses that to initiate the Shadow Charge into the fight, if you can poly him right as he goes in, before he can throw the Shadow Charge, that burns the cooldown for Lunar Flare.
And you have a pig launching at you that you just eat.
You could do that too. I don't know if that's necessary. Even just burning the cooldowns is okay. All right, so I think that was probably the conversation they were having. What can we do to really shut this combo down? I think, yeah, Brightwing makes a lot of sense.
Now, does this dissuade Tempo from picking Illidan, which was also very likely, because this makes Illidan a lot more risky. You throw Poly followed up by Judgment.
Yeah, it also has that added benefit as well.
That's quite nice. It could make them lean towards something like Zagara.
Or Falstad.
Or Lost Vikings.
This guy Temple. It kind of seems like they are picking up steam on just about all of these maps. Like
when you say picking up steam in Vikings, I just hear Eric and Olaf and Balog using go going.
And the Zebo. Final pick.
All right, they like Juan.
The
sombrero wearing demon.
Can't say that. All right. Moving forward. Poor Juan. We'll see him in action this game. Tempo Storm have been known to really enjoy running this combination. Love it. It's been working out pretty good for them.
It has. I'm super excited for game number 4. Can Tempo bring it to game 5?
Let them know they're good to go. Oh, yes.
No slashes in my typing in that time.
Good job. All right. So, I really like the draft for Temple Storm. Last game, I wasn't really too convinced of it being particularly strong one way or the other. It just felt like a very neutral pick. They're just, okay, we'll just bring it to Blackheart's Bay, show that we're the better team. This time, I think they have a very strong synergy for early game pressure, and it's going to really be on 2Arc to make sure that they can quell that and make sure that it doesn't get out of hand.
Yeah, Diablo flipping sides is nice, but I mean, 2Arc, they've proved themselves time and time again with Tyrael.
Mm-hmm.
Is this a composition where Tyrael's going to shine as much? Zebo, he's got that bodyguard now. He's got Juan to hang out and protect him.
Yeah, he can be casted from that distance, and he just provides, it's kind of like a set it, forget it type thing. Throw it out there. It's going to do damage, and the cooldown is quite short on it.
I almost expect Jaina to pick up improved ice block here. And it's a really uncommon talent. But if Judgment is Jaina's biggest concern and being blown up from that, improved ice block is an incredibly viable talent. They just buffed it. They reduced the cooldown on it required. Definitely worth considering for our Jaina player in this game.
I think that's a good point. We'll keep an eye on that. Ice blocks, overall, will have a lot of use, especially when trying to dodge that Tyrael.
I mean, it just completely negates the Judgment.
It does.
Protects you.
Bolts are good for that, too. What do they have for bolts?
Quite a few.
Jaina, Toronto lost bolt.
That's true.
The Zebo doesn't have bolt either.
So,
all right, something to keep in mind. Temple Storm doesn't want to get to that point, though.
No.
They want to make sure that they have that early lead, the early aggression.
That's what it's all about with their composition.
Yes. Okay, we're getting into this. This is still match point for 2Arc Gaming in this losers final set versus Tempo Storm. Can they finish it off here? Is Tempo Storm going to be able to get this comeback? Let's find out in a second. Let's get to introducing these teams. On the blue side, for 2Arc Gaming, we have Furious D on Tassadar. Trader is going to be playing Vala. Panucci on Tyrael. Quibsy is going to be playing Tychus. And Chubbs on Brightwing.
And on the other side of the map, in the red, we have Tempo Storm with Arthalon playing as Jaina. KO on Nazebo. Glaurung rocking the Diablo. Dreadnought, he's on Uther, and rounding it out, it's Soldier, and that is going to be Tyrande.
Scouting drone picked up once again for Brightwing. This is really just to want to make sure they keep an eye on these rotations because they're so deadly. They're well aware of the strength of this composition.
5 money pigs strong. Tempo takes the watchtower. 2Arc is playing very passive. They know the early game of Tempo is actually just, that's how they're going to win this game out. And they don't even contest. They say, look, the combo is too strong. Don't even go for it.
And I'll be curious to see how much of a passive stance they're going to be taking. Yes, I like this. Leave Tyrael, and Brightwing. I guess you could say that these are probably the two most safe heroes. Well, actually, no. Tassadar, I might be more agreed to put Tassadar in the bottom lane. But you have to think about the mobility that Brightwing has. She also has the vision with the scouting drones.
Yeah, and that's going to be a big deal. Now, scouting drones, you have 2 charges. It's a 45-second cooldown for each charge. KO already on call to remove those the best he can.
Yep. It's going to provide a lot of pressure. And look at this, they're already lining up. Glaurung says, "This is did they time it out well enough?" Yes, they did. And the zombie wall was actually what kept Brightwing there long enough.
So very powerful, very nicely done, picking up that first blood of the game, giving them a bit of experience, but really denying that wave of experience right now in the bottom lane.
Yeah, and you can see that Panucci has to rotate down.
And that is the first spawn on Temples, 10 seconds away. Even Arthalon is doing a good job zoning out. Quibsy caught a bit out of position. Flip is going to be here. The Loader Flare lines up properly, and Quibsy will be eliminated very early.
They're really showing the strength of this composition and why 2Arc was making sure that they were able to deny the Diablo pick to Tempo Storm this whole time.
All right, Arthalon, he's actually in a rough situation. A lot of damage being applied, but they don't have any kind of control on the fight. He's just going to tap well and come back in. The rotation from Glaurung and Soldier is here, and as Jaina rotates back up, that's a big combo available between the 3.
What is going to be the target that Glaurung decides to go in on? There's always going to be the follow-up between Jaina and Soldier, of course, on Tyrande. They're going to just settle for taking control of this top temple while 2Arc settles for taking the middle as well.
Yes, but
Still
they are
soaking.
soaking all
Yep.
3 lanes, and the experience is already a level ahead for them. So as it
Wow.
continues to get higher, that is problematic. The second they realize they are not all there in 5, the Eldruins might force out by Tyrael Panucci off, and they chase them off the last few charges of this. But Tuark isn't giving up quite yet. Quibsy gonna end up falling the phase shift a little bit too late, and Diablo is backing up. Now Dreadnought entering the fray, gets hit with a polymorph, but his heals are keeping the team rather sustained. Tyrande and Uther,
Wow,
the
that
powers
was-
combined.
That was strange to see. I don't know if it was a vault that was happening at the same time, but he actually like skipped over the zombie wall.
Oh, I actually missed that, but
Yeah,
that's very interesting.
it should have been a pickup because he would have been able to stay close enough to get the flip, but didn't end up panning out just because he ended up getting pushed a lot further than I think he was expecting. Still, Tempo Storm is really showing that early game aggression, and it's getting them that level lead. And they've shown that the games that they can hold early leads, they're winning convincingly against Tuark.
Yeah, I mean, full level is quite a bit.
Yeah, this
and,
early in the game, it's
and
a
they're
big deal.
continuing to apply that pressure. Now, we see these Giants, they're thinking about it. They've got Trainer and Quibsy, and they're hiding their location, looking to potentially turn onto Arthlon. They want to put some fear into their opponent, say, look, you can't just get away with this forever. We're going to turn on you.
Yep, still hiding it. We also need to keep in mind
Oh, boy.
the potential to get that split push with the mercenary camps, the bruisers in the top lane. Just perhaps will be timed out just to provide that pressure while the bottom temple spawns. It's probably going to be around the 5-minute mark.
I love this patience.
Yep.
By Tempo Storm right now. Just
Trader
waiting,
packs up,
waiting,
yep.
waiting.
There's no safety in the towers there in the mid lane at any point at this point. All right, KO still holding presence in this bottom lane. Experience lead is starting to slowly catch up for Tuark. They need to just, yes, remain patient, make sure that they keep control of the map, not give up too many more kills. At this point, they're only down 3. They can still very easily come back in this game.
Yeah, so Tempo right now, they're just using that roaming composition of Glaurung and Soldier, Diablo and Tyrande to pick up those first Giants, and they're going to get aggressive in the side. Over here, actually opting for Quibsy. That's going to be a very clean kill, and they could rotate up to the Giants. Arthlon is uncovering that they are here, and they're just respecting the threat of that rotation. Arth by himself right now, healing ward in the back. He's going to be successful in picking that up, and Furiously does have to use a very early dimensional warp.
Preemptively cast that dimensional warp just to make sure that he stays safe. Because they've seen how quickly those heroes blow up, and you can get stunned out to the point where you don't even have the option to use that dimensional shift to get away to safety. So better to use it preemptively. Better safe than sorry.
Yeah, well, now Chubbs has that global presence available, but they're still down at the full level. Dredge just going to do his best to keep bullying them here in the top lane. They know they're in a safe position after the skills they just picked up. So they're sitting here on the bottom temple. That's pushing them further and further ahead towards level 10.
Yeah, they will absolutely have enough shots here to take out this bottom fort. And they'll give them the structural lead, but more importantly, just to keep and sustain that 1-level lead they have over this temple. Actually, they're backing up. They realize that there's that level hero deficit
Yeah, they're out
for this pressure here.
In theory, all 5 were there with Brightwing's global presence.
Good point.
So they had to be safe, wait for Dreadnought and Arthlon to appear. But now that they are all here as 5, I believe that Lunar Flare did in fact miss on Quibsy, so a bit of a mistake, but the damage is going down. KO getting very low, the heals coming up from Tyrande, keeping her alive, and the grenade just barely not picking up that kill. The double support working, Shadow Charge onto Chubbs. That is going to be a dead Brightwing, but Arthlon is very low in the backline. The heals from Uther going to be enough, saving him from the Hungering Arrow, and the rest of this temple going to go to the side of Tempo Storm, who have now picked up their heroics.
Yeah, the heroics were actually a really big deal in that fight. Of course, we didn't see the Gargantuan, but of course that Shadow Fall, Star Fall, that's it. There we go, goddamn. That was a really key in zoning them out from chasing out Arthlon and the rest of this fight. They have this huge advantage, the level lead, almost 2.
Look at Juan go.
And this is more than enough to net them a boss.
Wow. And that's big. They've got a 2-level lead. They have a boss. They have complete control. They're going to rotate. They're going to soak the lanes. They're going to pick up bruisers, and they're just going to continue pushing themselves forward. And the threat of those ganks they don't ever actually go away. They just continue being terrifying.
That's a very, very good point. Has Tempo Storm woken up? They're looking really solid compared to those first 2 games. I got to give them kudos for really sitting down, once again, getting that pep talk and saying, okay, we got to make something happen between these games. We need to win 3-0. They're more than capable of doing it, but it's just about keeping everyone on the team really calm and focused on the task ahead.
Now, no matter how you look at it, doing a reverse hard all kill is a very difficult thing to do. But
Yes.
Tempo, they have the momentum in this game number 4. They can take it to game 5, but Tuark is far from out. Lunar Flare is with Judgment onto Soldier, putting him in a bad position, and Soldier gets hit with the Divine Shield, keeping himself alive. The Lightning Breath dishing out tons and tons of damage, and they are just turning. Tacitor falls, Tyrael falls, and Traitor, is he going to be next on the menu?
The Gargantuan is just picking every target perfectly. Like, whoever they need to isolate. You can't control the Gargantuan.
No.
You can control when that slam goes down,
That's
and
about
it
it.
does a ton of damage. But he was actually just happened to be picking the absolute right targets to isolate that happened to give them big focus fire. Or I could even say that perhaps they're watching their Gargantuan and say, okay, who does he go after? We pick that target and go.
Seems like that could be it, and Quibsy will get flipped. The damage on the Gargantuan is significant, and that is a great strategy if that's what they're actually able to synergize. To think, you have to deal with Blizzard Micro and actually just control an AI as one of your allies.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, in the future, perhaps we will see this Gargantuan be controllable, but until then, it's actually Tempo Storm's making a case for its use in the meta.
We've seen him played a ton by Tempo Storm, and KO he's got me proved. I'm a believer of the wand.
He's leading in the damage right now. Nazeebo is, and it's once he hits level 16, especially with those leaping spiders, he gets so much more damage on that. I really am liking this new Nazeebo build. It's a lot of fun.
If you can keep up with a Vala using
Yeah.
Gargantuan, the heroic is well worth getting.
Yeah.
Like, that's a fact. All right, well, Tempo Storm, they're putting the aggression on this bottom lane. They're going to clean up these giants, and then they're going to gladly sit on that bottom temple. But I don't know if they're going to be satisfied with it. They want to keep Tuark on their back foot, and they could get very aggressive, and that's why they're going to march down onto this bottom keeps wall to force Tuark to hearth back on home to defend.
You see triple sprint picked up for level 13, a shrink ray for Uther, which is going to be very, very useful to deal with that either Odin or Archon. Like the reduction in attack speed and movement speed is super, super nice. Actually, no, it reduces the damage output, but since those two are just very heavily auto attack damage oriented, it's going to have a ton of effects. So I really like the shrink ray pickup, and they also grab the range. Yes, on the shadow charge. This seems to be a staple in Glaurung's build for Diablo.
Yeah, I mean, from the shadows, it's a really cool pickup. And I love this triple sprint. I mean, just having the safety, having the mobility to get out of a lot of situations. And they don't really have to worry about Emerald Wind either, so there's no massive displacement. It's going to be that blink kill style out of Brightwing. I mean, we've been seeing this game. They desperately needed those heals to try to keep their team alive, but not having Emerald Wind is going to prove to be very difficult in this game, and they're getting very close to those level 13 talents. But from the shadows, showing off its ability right there, but not going to be followed up with the flip.
Yeah, that's actually a really big deal. Now, of course, Glaurung does have plenty of souls to keep himself alive, but not having that follow-up, I'm kind of shocked that they're even still following this up without the potential to follow up with the Hunter's Mark, and you see that the Odin has been popped.
A massive Gargantuan going in with the help of this Lightning Breath, hitting 3 targets at the time. Gargantuan just slamming Quibsy, dishing out the damage, and Arthlon will be able to finish him off with the Water Elemental. The double summon style is paying off right now, and the damage is real. The flip onto Panucci, Water Elemental and Arthlon forcing Chubbs back. He's able to blink heal onto a friendly minion, but the Shadow Charge, the Eldruin's Might not going to be there in time, and the explosion from this is going to get Arthlon to about half health, but that will not quell the rage of this team.
No targets were low enough, of course, for that Ghost of Tyrael to end up doing a ton of damage. And all this while, they have the Giants pushing bottom. And once again, it just 11 kills to nothing. Tuark has been able to do nothing about this aggression this whole time. They've been trying to play it safe and look for opportunities where Tempo Storm has overextended. Is this going to be one of them? Yes, absolutely. Dreadnought says, I will give up my life for this. And they're going to get that keep. That's still a pretty sizable advantage for them. But they have that 3-level lead. And that's really what you have to be looking at.
The spiders used to dismount to buy Soldier a bit of flexibility. We even see Gargantuan being picked up. Now, Gargantuan, that cooldown, it is quite short. And look at Soldier. He will get blown up by that. So the over-commitment to that bottom lane.
It's big.
It's going to
This is what they need. Okay, if they get this boss, like they're suddenly back in this game. That's an entire 16 seconds before they even have either of their healers back up. So they're going to, Tempo Storm is just going to settle. They're going to take this temple in the middle of the map, but taking this boss loss is a pretty big deal.
It is, and they're going to get forced off this temple. They're going to get a few charges off, but they're still in a 3v5 situation. Uther just now responding to run it down for another 15 seconds. So as soon as they see the enemy team, they have to leave. Now, Judgment is on cooldown, but Arthalon is going to be forced to use Sprint to get out of the situation. This is a big, big deal for a 2-arc. This is the kind of situation they needed to crawl back into this game. And, I mean, yeah, the bottom keeps down.
They're still down. Yeah, we have to emphasize. Yeah, they're down 2 levels still. All 3 forts are still up for Tempo Storm. This is going to be a big boon in terms of swinging that favor. They probably will end up getting 2 forts off of this pressure, but we actually see Tempo Storm realizing, hey, we still have a 2-level lead. We have a talent tier advantage. We have double imposing presence. We have the numbing blast for the roots and the control and the fight. The leaping spiders. We have a ton of damage output still. Yes, we lost a couple heroes. Yes, there's a golem pushing the bottom lane, but we still have control over this situation.
Yeah, they're not even worried about that golem because of the amount of structures they had in its path. Yep. The golem will get to that back keep wall, and if it gets to that keep wall, it'll be nearly dead. But with Arthalon just throwing down a combo on it, yeah, it's just going to fall rather quickly to those towers.
They're looking to get aggressive, it would seem. They're just waiting for Arthalon to catch back up. And on Janet, yeah, and look at this. They know they still have the presence on the map, although up until this point, having lost the boss, etc., and most of that temple, they're taking it back to say, yeah, we still have that level lead.
Yeah, they just need to make sure they don't overcommit like they did in that last fight, because they did give 2-arc a bit of breathing room. 2-arc was able to pick up the boss, which netted them the bottom fort. This middle fort is nearly dead. So that structural advantage still will in the favor of Tempo Storm, but one team fight could change that.
All right, let's talk about some of these talents. I brushed over them really quickly, but the double imposing presence is going to be a big deal, dealing with the Odin and the Tassadar. Can't stress that enough. We also have the imposing will at level 13, but there's no real big auto attackers. It's still a very solid talent choice to pick up in case someone does end up auto attacking you, because it is a 50% reduction in movement speed. Let's see what the level 16 talents are for 2-arc. What is their plan to get back in this game? Of course, double blood for blood,
and
extra survivability. Yep, criterize as well.
That's actually kind of big.
Yeah, get a good amount of focus fire onto the targets. If Brightwing's close enough to whomever gets judgmented, they could very easily blow that target up fast.
Yes, especially, yeah, the power of Criterize and Blood for Blood, just giving them, and that's why level 16 is always such a big deal. So they are still down a solid 2 levels, 18 about to be reached for Temple Storm, and the temple spawning. This is going to become a very fine dance, and they, you know what, having that global presence on Brightwing is one of those edges that can really help them crawl back into this game.
Absolutely, because they need to try to catch up in that experience lead, although the gap right now is strictly level-wise. Up until this point, not having level 16 was a big deal in terms of engaging. Just having that survivability for both Vala and Tassadar and Tyrael, it's good. So they got the 2-level deficit. It's not super impactful that they soak, but really more that they try to find the best they can to catch up in structure damage.
Yeah, and that's going to help out, but trading temples right now is not what they need to do. I like that they're getting aggressive. They're marching down this lane. They're at least showing Panucci. They're trying to force Tempestorm back, but I don't think Tempestorm is going to buy it, because if they show, Tempestorm is just going to respond, hey, we already have the lead here in structures. You're the ones that need to hearth back to your base, and they're going to force their hand. They're leaving Uther just on that, and here is the hearth coming out. One member definitely going back. Quibsy and Panucci, they haven't bought the bait quite yet.
They didn't fight. I'm surprised.
That's good. That's big for them to be able to.
They tried to. I think they just wanted to show, move forward a little bit to get them to all to rotate back, and then they can back up to continue to take map presence elsewhere on the map. But still, now Panucci and Quibsy are going to end up harking back, but it's only out of a safety thing, not really to try and defend their base.
But Furious D has been left for the Wolves. He can he can stall for quite a while, but I believe the Wolves of Tempestorm are going to Power Ranger him down.
All right. What are we left with for 2-arc? How can they get back in this game? I think that's just no way to sugarcoat that. That was just a mistake positionally.
It was
leaving Tassadar up in that lane, and it's just free reign, more so than they already had for Tempo Storm to get structural damage.
And they are closing in on 20.
Yeah, I imagine they're probably going to cap these giants and not necessarily make a heavy push to the core. Just try to protect them as much as possible, get a bit of siege damage in. And
hit 20, and then just kind of try to put those vice grips on your opponent, like get that stranglehold on this match, because it's a very PvE map. Now, I love this play. This is strictly a bait to say, like, hey, you want to come get these giants that we haven't picked up yet? We're grabbing our giants.
Yeah, I think this is really cool. It doesn't look like as though they're going to
they're not
bite
buying
for this
it,
yet. Also helps them to time out a little bit better so that you have a 4 giant pushing down that bottom lane. It's really going to give them a lot of time to take this boss.
Level 20 has been reached. This makes it relatively safe for Tempest Storm to do this, and they do have the double Resurgence. Glaurung with the Souls, and of course Redemption on Uther. We do see the Gargantuan being used, and then Panucci goes in, but he's just getting blown up so quickly, barely staying alive. Those level 20 talents are making a difference, but Dreadnought and Glaurung are both so very low. Dreadnought does end up staying alive just barely, the ghost of Tyrael dishing out so much damage.
Tyrael ended up getting a bunch of kills there.
Oh, the Bolt of the Storm on Arthalon will eliminate the Vala very decisively, in that Ghost of Uther healing and respawning.
Yep.
This is
Diablo's also back up because he had enough souls. We can't stress that enough. After level 20, especially, we have that kind of double resurgence style. It's still available for this team. We still have Giants pushing in the bottom lane, and Tempo Storm has done it. I think they've brought this series back to game number 5.
I can't believe it. I really just cannot believe another game 5 happening. This is the craziest day of Heroes of the Storm
It really is.
we have ever seen, because game 5 to game 5 to game 5
doesn't get any better than that. And we've seen just incredible back and forth strategies between all of these teams. Too much. Too much. It's too much.
It is. It is. On that note, we're just going to get ready,
power through.
set up game 5, go, go, go.
Yep.
Because
let's do it.
It's late.
It is. It's getting there. So we got to power through. As far as I know, the teams can't play tomorrow. So
we're
going
tonight.
into the wee hours of the night.
We are. So guys, game 5 will be set up very quickly. Get on social media. Tell your friends, family, dogs, cats, everyone. We'll be back in a bit. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to the ESL Major League Americas.
We are many hours in.
Not
Every
many.
game.
Not many. Not many.
What?
There's no numbers.
There's no. Yeah, we've lost count. At
We
this
are
point.
casting the best games that I have ever
Yes,
seen.
I can say that hands down. I'm just so excited with how the North American scene has developed at this
Yeah.
point compared to 3 months ago. There's different strategies for every team.
The
It's not
diversity in the
like,
hero
oh,
pool between these 2 days.
Yes.
I mean,
And they're just teams are just making crazy, like they're having their niche picks like Nazebo for Tempo Storm, Tyrael for 2ARC, just like how it's really playing into effect in this crazy set we have. And Tempo Storm now finds himself on the footstep of making this ridiculous comeback against 2ARC, who looked incredibly strong over the first 2 games.
Kubi, if they can do a reverse all kill,
Yeah.
dreams can be made.
And
I believe in
it's
magic.
it's a great story for either team. Like, it'll be a huge upset for 2ARC to have pulled this far back through the losers bracket and potentially get to grand finals, and Tempo Storm to have made this comeback as well to get another chance to take it to Cloud9 Maelstrom. Ah!
Let me just complete our product placement with the Hearthstone shirts.
no problem. Yep, it's going good. All right, draft started. Woof.
Okay, coffee boys, we're getting that in there.
Yep.
Nice, healthy, happy. Like I said, time is irrelevant because coffee is magic.
That's right. Coffee is pretty magic.
All right, well, we have Zeratul being banned out by Tempo Storm, sticking to the guns of removing that. 2ARC has seen great success in the 9 games that have been played between these 2 teams over the last 24 hours.
That's insane.
9 games. This is the 10th
game.
game between these 2 teams.
And both sets
That
have
is
been
how-
nothing short of incredible.
Oh, God, that's a ridiculous stat.
It really is. It really, really is. We've
Many tournaments are only 10 games long. These
Yeah.
teams alone.
How many games have we've casted? Let's see, 9 plus 9, 23. This is our 24th game.
This is the 24th game
In
in
this
this tournament.
There Minimum
could have-
20
There
against
could have
game.
been 25 games in this tournament at this point in time.
Yeah,
There have been 24.
it's crazy. That is crazy. But that just goes to show how evenly matched all of these teams are. I cannot stress that enough. It's
Yeah.
so good. It just makes for amazing storylines, amazing series. Everyone should be loving this. It's the best heroes we've seen to date.
True, true. All right, well, Jaina, tried and true, picking her up. 2ARC, I expect them to get their Diablo.
I should run stats between these games to figure out what the win rate is for Jaina.
Wow, they are going for Uther. Very early. Uther has been doing wonders. That Divine Shield has just been making massive plays in every game.
You're right.
And they're scooping him up.
What's the second pick?
Kubi.
Hi. Sorry, off guard.
I wasn't ready. You were so ready. Last night,
Yeah.
what was our draft on Guard of Terror? The 5th and final game between these 2 teams last night was a 37-minute game on Garden of Terror. Run me through the compositions.
Okay, for Tempo Storm, we had Jaina, Malfurion, Diablo, Zagara, and Tyrande. Okay, for 2ARC, Vala, Zeratul, Tassadar, ETC, and Brightwing.
Wow. 2ARC has scooped up Diablo. Again, they've seen a lot of success with that hero. They've seen Tempo have a lot of success with Uther. I'm really happy with their start, but they leave ETC. Tyrande's still here. I don't think we'll see the Stitch.
They haven't been running it.
Yeah,
this is the
that's-
wrong time to
that's
pull
why.
it out.
That's
It's
why.
the wrong time to pull this out, this type of strategy. I don't think it's going to catch 2ARC off guard.
No, exactly.
Let me check real quick to see if they faced the Stitches comp earlier. I don't think that Complexity tried to run it. No, they didn't. Not in the earlier set. So I guess they don't really have a ton of information about that composition between Stitches and Tyrande plus Jaina. It's worked in the past, but you really have to be confident in your Stitches player to make those plays. Cloud9 Maelstrom has been making it work.
Yes.
Tempo Storm, haven't really seen them running it all that much. So I'm okay with them continuing to round it out for damage. The question is, Illidan? Do they want to take these, I guess, 3 really top-tier damage picks? It could be. They might not be prioritizing their healing all that much. Actually, no. It's got to be... If they're going to take more damage, it's got to be Tassadar. They really need that second healing ward. So many teams have been prioritizing that. They're doing it. Okay.
Okay, yeah. They don't have Rhaegar. They don't have Uther. But they still trust in the Illidan. Now, If Tuark snipes Malfurion, this could put Tempo Storm in a really weird position. It puts Tuark in an incredible tanky composition to the point where Tempo would more or less have to pick up something like Tassadar and Malfurion to try to... But no, there's Tassadar and Tychus.
Tychus.
Okay. Malf should be the clear pick, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw something like Brightwing or Tyrande for that final pickup.
No tank?
Oh my goodness. I'm a fool.
No, it could happen. Don't. Well, we could even see something like Sonya again, which is kind of like an off tank being run as a main tank. It's happened.
That's true.
We've been looking at this and we see Sonya. It's
On
like,
Garden, though? I don't know.
Also, no Uther. You know, that's a real big key
Yeah.
in trying to get those follow-ups. I think, ETC makes a lot of sense, and then probably Malf.
Yeah.
Very standard lineup. Is this similar to Blackheart's Bay? ETC Illidan, Tychus, Vala, Rhaegar. Close. Not too far off, swapping out one of the damages for Jaina and Mal for Rhaegar. It's a very standard lineup. They're just playing to their strengths. All of those players on this team feel incredibly comfortable playing these heroes.
Yes. Okay.
What's the last pick? 4-2 arc. They've stolen the Diablo away. They could go for more damage. They could pick up... Tyrande is still available. Zagara still available.
I think Zagara makes the most sense here. Considering what we've seen out of Tuark in these last couple of days, Zagara is the comfort pick for them. We haven't seen them run with Nazebo. We haven't seen them playing Lost Vikings. They're both on the table, but I find it very unlikely.
Is it something crazy for this last game to move into grand finals against Cloud9 Maelstrom?
It's going to be murky.
Could be Thrall. Who knows?
Murky.
Murky.
I'm not... Murky's viable now.
You think so?
Yep.
Maybe.
Channel the powers of Trixler.
Okay.
Channel the powers of Zoya. Bring the Murky.
Something tells me we're probably not going to be seeing that.
If Murky was picked up here and they won, Tempo Storm would disband.
That puts a lot of pressure on them.
It is.
Oh!
You got excited for a second.
Oh, wow. No, it wasn't even that. We were just like, there's no way they're playing Lost Vikings.
Yeah.
We haven't seen two arc run Lost Vikings at all.
I wonder who's going to be playing.
Given what is there, it's got to be probably... I'll just throw out Furious D. He seems to be the flex for that type of position.
Sure.
Could be Quibsy. Sometimes Quibsy jumps into those kind of niche odd heroes.
If we look at our sweet roster card, we can see their flex is quite frequently Furious D. So,
yep. Could be.
if you want to see the beautiful boys at Tempo Storm,
some nice pictures right there.
some nice pictures. Guys, those will be our drafts for the 5th and final game. The 10th game played with these two teams.
That's right.
If we look over at our bracket, you can see they played last night. That went to game 5. They're going at it again. In the 5th match, again, going to be Garden of Terror.
This is where all the epic magic happens. The games
It
are
is.
long. We had a 36-minute game on Garden of Terror last night between these two teams, and it came down to the wire to the last kill.
It was the respect, the positioning,
Yeah.
just the amount of rotating around each other, and just fear of initiating in any of those fights was there, because they just knew the enemy team could take the fight at any moment.
All right. Let's let the players know that we are good to go. They should be ready. This is it. This is game 5. We should not delay it anymore.
I'm so prepared for this, Kubi. Everyone, get on social media.
Yes, let
your
everyone
friends
know.
know about this game. If you're enjoying it, tell Blizz Heroes on Twitter that you're loving some competitive heroes of
This
the
is
storm.
the best we've seen so far.
Yes.
I'm so glad to have the opportunity to cast this with you, Jake.
It's a
because
privilege.
Yeah.
Big shout outs to ESL for giving us these opportunities
Yes,
to be
absolutely.
involved here. And Garden of Terror, like we said. Kubi, it's been beautiful casting with you.
Oh, thanks, Jake. You
But it's
too.
not over!
Yeah, you're right. We still got a lot more games to go. I'm super excited about that.
I probably just killed everyone's ears.
Oh, I've already destroyed the mics like 7 times already. Just getting way too excited about some of this Blizzard hero action. Oh, my goodness.
All right, boys. Well, this is, again, Game 5.
Garden of Terror. How many series have we ended on Garden of Terror?
All of them, because no one likes the map.
Actually, all but one.
It's
Seriously, all but one of these series have ended on Garden of
It
Terror.
tends to be the last match. A lot of teams, they prefer not to play on it if possible. And the good luck has fun coming out. The final game, Dread getting his dance on, and he will be playing as Malfurion. Glaurung on ETC. Arthalon sitting side settle on Jaina. It's going to be Vala played by KO in Soldier on Illidan, and that makes up Tempo Storm.
Let's rotate over to the right side of the map. The red team, it is going to be 2ARC Iliad playing for them. We have Furious D on Tassadar. Quibsy, yep, playing the Lost Vikings. So I said it was going to be between Quibsy or Furious D. And what else we got? We got Trader on Tychus, Chubbs on Uther, and Panucci, of course, on Diablo.
And that makes 2ARC.
Yes, it does.
I do my little wiggle, trying to be cool like GSL. They do their sweet zoom in thing.
Blizz, we need more camera action. We need to be able to rotate the camera and zoom in at the same time. Please.
Please?
Yes.
Please?
We want to do it.
I just thought of like the hardest challenge ever. A caster challenge where you can't use your mouse to observe.
Oh, come on.
You have to use arrow keys.
Oh. You want choppy observing. That's how you do it.
All right, guys. Game number 5 is looking at these talents. Nothing weird. Jaina is going for the deep chill in this game. Yep. That just provides, well, just more slow on all of those targets. Vikings sticking to the Viking horde. Tassadar going for the mana retention with Sign Fusion.
Kind of seems like the Lost Vikings builds are pretty set in stone.
Yeah, it's actually...
They go for their version of the Regen Master. They take the Spin to Win. They take the Leap.
Arthalon is getting very low and will fall very quickly. Beautiful play. That's the power of Diablo.
Absolutely, and that's the quick. They're just they're really showcasing that Diablo is a huge threat. Like it seems like whatever team is running Diablo,
right. His win rate is probably super high in this series. Honestly,
yeah.
Like, I would love to get those stats. We'll get that all at the end of the event.
Yes,
but right now, I mean, Furious Team, they've got that aggression. They picked up that first kill, and the experience is showing as a result.
All right. Let's see how much aggression 2ARC continues to put on. They are taking a very aggressive set of seeds. Actually, the positioning between these two teams is really weird. Glaurung is kind of sandwiching members of 2ARC between them and the rest of their wall.
Yeah, that was really interesting. They gave up the opportunity to pick up those seeds in the bottom right just to chase them away, and 2ARC is just going to respond by floating down into the bottom. They expect the Tempo Storm to potentially come contest this, but Tempo Storm, they are as 5 in the top part of the map, collecting those seeds there.
Okay, so we are actually probably going to see a 45. No, that should be it'll be 30-30 split for these seeds, which again puts it on both the teams if they end up splitting these Garden Terror larger monsters, whatever you want to call them. That's 60 seeds each, which will very likely leave a 90-90 split in this first night phase. So no Garden Terror will likely be awarded to either team. But we're seeing a bit more of an aggressive posture for Tempo Storm.
Yeah, and I like this. They throw the Vikings in top and middle. Glaurung dashing forward. The stun connects on Chubbs, and they're in position to steal a lot of seeds with Illidan. That's exactly what's happening here, but Chubbs will get the bulk of them. Furiously very low in the health pool, and Illidan gonna try to clean up both Uther and Illidan in this situation. The shield's coming out. They might actually be enough. No, Panucci, Chubbs, it's gonna be 2 kills, but Chubbs is actually the one that does get out the Uther play.
Yeah, that was very close to being 0 kills between the timing of that Tassadar shield. Really nicely positioned. I was surprised with Jaina almost like face checking the situation. I was like, oh, this could really end badly for Jaina just because of that lack of mobility, but the backup was there with ETC. And they picked the right time, happened to go in right when the slam was being thrown down from the Garden Terror. That forces a lot of awkward positioning out of 2ARC. Trying to get out of the way of that. They also have to deal with ETC dashing in, using the knockback. So forced a lot of awkward positioning, like I was mentioning. Does he have the evasion? He doesn't. Off cooldown, and that's going to net 2ARC another kill to bring and the kill count 2-2.
And they're going to get a goal
out
of this.
That's actually the bigger story.
Right. I mean, the kill's great, and that's nice. You deny experience, you pick up experience, but getting the first plant terror of the game is a very significant advantage to have, and it can just allow you to get the structural damage to keep a nice level advantage pushing towards 10.
How we've seen teams respond to these Garden Terrors in the past, the very early ones, or like at least how they make use of them, is more often they will push with one, say, in the middle lane, and then the rest of the team will probably rotate. Oh, actually, no, they have the option to take it with one of the Vikings.
Yeah, it's so huge. To think about that, the Lost Vikings just proving their worth time and time again with their ability to soak and just grab things like Dragonites, Garden Terrors, whatever the situation is. It's such a strong hero for those reasons.
So even more options for them to soak. They can pressure with this Garden Terror in the top lane, and the rest of the team can, kind of do like a split push in this mid lane. They're either going to have to respond to one or the other. They're going to get some structural damage done. The Garden Terror by itself, this early on, isn't really going to deal all that much damage, unless it's left uncontested, of course.
Yeah, and they're just pushing it back, but the rest of 2ARC will gladly push in this middle lane that just has Jaina, or excuse me, Bala, played by KO defending. And with that, that's going to force Glowering down to help defend in this middle lane.
So that experience lead that we saw for Tempo Storm moving into the mid-game is now being nullified by this early Garden Terror. It's a big deal, and they're really trying to capitalize as much as possible, taking these tower outs, which now, of course, give experience.
Yeah, and that's, it's probably one of the best changes Blizzard has made
Really,
to this game.
it's made a lot more early game strategy viable, which is it's a lot of fun to watch.
It's really exciting. So Quipsy will lose. That's just Olaf. A good chance that Olaf will end up falling. No, the Queen's Curse buying enough time for the Go-Go-Go to allow him to get out.
Nicely
and
placed.
now we have this rotation from Panucci. Panucci, if he can catch Jaina out of position, Arthlon needs to be very cautious, throwing out the Cone of Cold, but okay, Blizzard will be enough to zone.
Yeah, he could have dashed over that Blizzard, but it was really more zoning out the follow-up from Chubbs and Furious D. Didn't want to get caught in that Blizzard because that could have been a lot of damage that they weren't able to deal with.
All right, this is a big fight right now. Malfurion in on his way up here. Glowering is getting very low. The dash is not going to be available. Look at the Blizzard, though, dealing so much damage to Furious D. He has to use the Dimensional Shift, but there is a Arthalon, or excuse me, a Soldier on the other end waiting for him. They keep changing their heroes. I'm getting confused, but looks like that Trader is going to be able to back out. Soldier will end up falling. This is huge for Tuark right now.
What I just saw was incredible placement from the Lost Vikings. They threw Glaurung in between every single Viking to block them in. He had already used his loudspeakers, so he wasn't able to knock anyone out. They didn't need any stuns. They just body blocked him with the Vikings. That was awesome.
The Vikings are such a cool hero, providing so many cool factors. They pick up aggressive giants, 2 kills, level 10 first. They're on their way to 11. And really, Tuark, I mean, they have taken a very nice start to this game.
The 4 games that we've seen in this series, there have been no comebacks. A comeback is happening in the series from game to game, but whomever has had the lead going into the mid-game has won the game.
Well, we'll see if
the first time
can break the pattern in this match. Now, Illidan does end up falling once again. I mean, just the power of this enemy team, locking him down, blowing him up, getting these quick kills. Level 10 was reached by Temple Storm, but a bit too little too late, and they're still on their back foot. They only have 1 fort remaining, and the Night Phase has just begun.
That's crazy. The amount of structural pressure they've already put on, given that it is 7 minutes in the game. They've done a fantastic job grabbing these seeds, but all right, level 10 has just been hit for Temple Storm. This is their time to really try to shift around how these team fights have been happening and really change the pace of this game, because like I said, there have been no comebacks within the games, and Temple Storm, if they want to take this ridiculous series comeback, they need to change that pattern.
Yes, well, the Shadow Charge going in onto Glaurung. The Vikings trying to body block. There's only 2 of them right now, and Illidan is entering the fray, dashing forward. Lightning Breath connecting with KO, just getting a lot of damage. Panucci is falling so very quickly, and he will end up going down. Olaf forced to use that jump to try to stay alive. The first aid on Soldier, and there is the Metamorphosis going in. Trader, Divine Storm doing so much work. The body blocks of Illidan, blinding out Chubbs for a while. Furious D will fall. Stage dive, incredibly aggressive going forward. That is going to be the demise of the final Vikings, and Chubbs is trying to mount up, but no! The Cone of Cold connecting. There's the Frostbolt going for it, and Chubbs is going to fall as well.
Are they going to get a 6-kill team fight?
6 kill?
Yeah, with Diablo having already died in this fight and having his souls to come back.
They could get 8 kills.
They could, yeah, with the Vikings, if you want to get real technical, you could do that. All right, so what was kind of neat, and if we look at the rest, other than Tychus and Uther, who were a little bit zoned out for the fight, of course they want to make sure that they're not overextending with those heroes. The fun thing is, like, as soon as they saw the Lightning Breath, that's when we saw Tranquility, and that's when we saw Strafe. The easiest way to knock Strafe out is to throw that Shadow Charge onto it, but if he's in Lightning Breath, you can't do it. It's easy to heal through the Lightning Breath with Tranquility, and you have the Strafe at the same time getting a ton of damage that's uninterrupted. That's why that team fight went so handily in Temple Storm's favor. We talked about this. Okay, we need to break this pattern. That's how you do it. That was the team fight they really needed.
And the levels are dead even. Yes, Tuark is very close to getting themselves a terror, but Temple Storm, they want to stop this. They're going to be unable to stop it, but they might be able to punch them for this aggression. The stop, forcing up that Longboat Raid, but it connects and does a lot of damage to it. Longboat Raid getting very, very weak, but the Metamorphosis of Illidan going onto Panucci. Shadow Charge not going to be enough. Longboat still getting a lot of damage on, but this Garden Terror, the Queen's Curse, no, jump going to be enough. I love the positioning on this later drone, buying time, but Tranquility has been saved for all this time?
That's incredible. They're going to have such chase power. And look at the position for Glowering with the Queen's Curse. There we go. And it's not going to end up netting any kills unless Soldier decides to hop over the wall and go ridiculously ham at the Trader. Not going to be enough.
They're thinking about it. They are going
Wow.
in. This is so much aggression. They pick up some of the Vikings. That is going to be the first keep. Turn this around. We never see keeps go down to the 10-minute marker in Garden of Terror. This is incredible.
Yeah, this is an incredibly aggressive game. And there it is. Wow, the punishment. Panucci says, you have overstayed your welcome. We're throwing down that lightning breath. We are going to pick up a kill on your Jaina. And can they chase even further? Soldier getting stunned out, and he doesn't have enough time to throw the auto attacks down. The overkill from Tychus is going to be enough. KO on the chase. Panucci almost within reach to throw that shadow charge down.
Gonna get 2 seeds during his escape path. ETC
Value.
is picking up these Giants. 2 members survive, but that fort is gonna fall. Giants already sieging up. Fort's not even their goal. Their goal is locking down KO. And they're actually, no, they just want to get this keep down in the middle lane.
Yeah, this is an uncontested Garden Terror. There's no way, even if they have a 31 seed count, Tempo Storm, even if they were to sneak around and take this, there's not enough seeds left on this Garden Terror. And they're going to get a lot of uncontested push, especially with the 2 heroes just respawning in the form of Illidan and Mount.
Yes. All right. Well, they are back up. The Water Elemental going down. The aggression right out the gates. But Arthalon is overextended. He will get blown up very quickly in that fight. Soldier, they are backing on up, and this Garden Terror is going to say, hey, look, you know what? You're going to donate me a little mage. I am going to keep doing my damage.
They capitalize the Queen's Curse of the Polymorph. No way they can get him out of there.
Nice route here. Zoning for KO as she vaults back up. And the damage from the Garden Terror is real. This keep will likely fall, but the defense can still stand strong. Vikings finally entering the battle. There is the laser drill, and that spawns the strafe, but Shadow Charge interrupts it only moments after it begins.
That's a big deal.
Metamorphosis trying to pick up Trader in the backline. Furious D, they're all very low right now.
Soldier continuing the chase onto Trader. He doesn't have enough mana. I don't think he can use the running gun to get out. Glaurung now providing the extra chase onto Panucci. I don't think he has enough souls to get back 74. No, he is going to die. If he's dead, he's down for good for another 39 seconds. Are they going to continue the chase onto Furious D? Not
that
quite.
ice block is huge, but Dread, I don't know if he can live.
Oh!
Blizzard comes out just on the moment of time. Well done by Dreadnought.
This game is
alive.
insane, Jake.
Oh my
goodness. This game
goodness.
is so back and forth. I've never seen so many fights just going one way and completely the other. And so many structures have already been taken out. Like, they took this keep down in this middle lane without taking the fort yet. So I don't think that spawns catapults. No, it doesn't. It's just such a rare situation, but oh my gosh.
Losing my brain right now. This is incredible right now. The first fort of the game spawning. Catapults were not spawning this entire time. I didn't even put that factor in.
Yeah.
The action's been so intense. If you destroy a keep and not a fort, you do not get catapults. Removing that fort is a big deal because now they are finally getting those catapults. Their defense was strong enough. This keep is still alive, and they need to push this lane back because if you guys saw the games last night, they had that middle keep very low. It's deja vu right now. They had it very low, and Tuark constantly utilized that as a threat to force the position of Tempo Storm.
Right. Forcing them to back up from taking any kind of map objectives. Right now, though, both teams level 16. There's been so much action, we haven't had any chance to talk about some of these talents, but they're on even footing, and I actually think we might have a moment to do just that. Hardened Focus, Ice Block, we saw that really coming into play in this last fight. The Numbing Blast, once again, picked up for Templeton. They really like that route if they hit a chill target with that Cone of Cold. Double Blood for Blood, I think that these are pretty much staples for the Vala and Illidan builds just for that extra survivability and the Stone Skin.
Yeah, it's pretty standard stuff. 1 level advantage right now for Tempo Storm. They're just pushing back these knights, trying to maintain that map aggression, and Dread is actually suspecting that the pressure on the middle fort. Oh boy, Soldier gets stunned out. Divine Storm follow up. There will be no heals. Stage dive going to be a bit too late, so Illidan has been removed from this fight very early on. Glaurung hit by the Shrink Ray, needs to back on up here. He used the stage dive to initiate, but they do bait out a Lightning Breath. That's a big deal. Bottom lane though has bruisers, has catapults, marching on forward, something that puts a timer on the aggression here for Tuark Iliad.
Still though, the Longboat Raid is available. We still have the Archon, we still have the Draken Laser Drill. They have a ton of utility to put pressure on this keep, and if they want to get catapults pushing down in this lane, keep in mind that there is quite a bit of pressure in the bottom lane. They're still pushing it with those Mark Camps, but just keep an eye on that as this fight progresses. Yeah, I think they're going to have enough.
Safely throwing the damage down, and yes, they will get that keep, and that should force a back out, but Tempo is aware of this. They throw down the Water Elemental, going in onto Arthalon. The Healing Word nicely placed, and Tranquility is used very early. Panucci is taking a lot of damage. The Longboat Raid is being focused, and that makes the Vikings quite vulnerable. Olaf will be the first one to fall, and with all of this, Illidan has respawned, and he is well on his way back into this battlefield, and Chubbs has been secluded from the rest of his team.
Yeah, I think that they didn't end up getting enough value out of that longboat raid. It was as soon as it popped up, it focused down so quickly, and unfortunately the Draken laser drill was focused on their tank on Glaurung the whole time, and Chubbs is just trying to get as much damage in as possible, and they're actually just kind of not focusing him down. Okay, there we go.
All right, but during all of this, while we have Tempest from going in to this middle lane, and actually by stalling out the death of Uther for a little while like that, his ghost and then his death timer, that actually just buys Tempest from a little bit of room to regroup, and now they have 40 seconds at this point in time to capitalize across the map. Now they're just going to heal up. They're going to make sure they're in top conditions. Should see the Hearth from Dread. Yes, he's also going to be Hearthing back home. Night phase in 20 seconds. Templestorm's coming in, guns blazing.
Structurally, this is so close for both teams. Once we hit that 20-minute mark, deciding team fights, like if we're talking like 3 for nothing, 4 for 1, whatever the case may be, that will end the game because of the structure.
Oh,
situation
Soldier!
we have.
Please don't do this again. The stage dive comes out, and this is actually massive. They're gonna get Panucci right away. Soldier this time gonna be able to be a massive bait for the enemy team. Quibsy going to be able to get away with Olaf, but Trader not going to be so lucky. The Cone of Cold locking him down. The body blocks are real, and that is 2 kills picked up very early. The Night Phase is here, but they are just taking out this middle fort before they rotate on back.
We still have the sustainability in the form of Dreadnought's Tranquility. I think we're going to get some massive damage done. Either they could have taken the choice of taking out this middle keep or backing up and taking huge presence in the form of Seeds, which they can, of course, then turn into a Garden Terror. Panucci really just sticking his nose out, just seeing, what are they doing here? Can we punish them for this? And I'm not so sure they can.
Yeah, but the Bolt of the Storm at level 20 being used. Roots onto Panucci, locking him down. He just used his souls. If he dies here, this is actually really rough. The heals coming up from Uther, barely enough, but no, not quite.
They're just overextending a little bit too much, and they don't have the level advantage to be making these kinds of plays. They need to calm down and focus on just trying to take what map objectives they can. The level 20 is a huge deal. Once again, we're seeing the 5 Bolts of the Storm, and they've been making plays with it in the past.
But Tuark, they just need to sit down, like you said, collect
They can
your
still
thoughts,
bring this back. It's not over yet. Don't keep throwing yourself away trying to hope to make plays. Make calculated moves. Try to figure out what is that exact position that Tempo Storm isn't expecting that flank from. See, like right now, they're split up. If there's a time to make that move, they obviously need to get that information that they are indeed split up. But those are the types of play they need to be making, not making guesses.
And yes, we do have the level 20 advantage and a Garden Terror. Tempo Storm will actually collect a second Garden Terror for this after that nets him a monstrous advantage going into this game. We're at the 17-minute mark. They're getting aggressive. Diablo about to respawn. They're going to have all 5. This defense is going to be... It's going to make or break the game because, like I said, back-to-back terrors, 121 seeds on deck.
That's so many seeds, and it's such a tall order for Tuark to have to defend against it. It's very doable, especially if they catch him in a flip over the wall, and that might actually be enough damage for them to output onto Glaurung really fast. I understand that they do have another terror that is available after this, but you can't be throwing away this huge advantage that you might have. They have to be careful with how they use the rest of this Garden Terror.
Yeah, they're being reckless with it. They really are, but they're going to get the keep. So that's well worth it. Strafe nearly picking up the kill on one of the Vikings, but not quite. The Vikings will live on, and especially with Viking Horde, they will heal up rather quickly.
Absolutely.
They're just rotating into the jungle of Tuark. And in terms of heroics, Strafe was used, everything available still for Tuark.
Yeah, and of course he had the ability to use that longboat raid if they really wanted to keep all 3 of those Vikings alive. Probably not necessarily in the case, but yet they're so difficult to kill sometimes.
Yeah.
With the leap and the shield from the Norse Force, like you were mentioning, and just of course the regen with that Viking Horde. You know, they're squishy, but they're difficult to kill with all their mobility.
And Tempo Storm is deliberately leaving those seeds up, so a new Night Phase is stalled out for even more time. A new Night Phase means that Tuark can get a terror of their own.
That's a really good point.
But if they stall out those seeds, the Night will continue persisting as long as they are alive, and that is a very big strategic point to just emphasize.
It's a good idea. And the other thing that's big about this, they see that the Night Camps are there. They're like, well, we need more seeds. Let's go up and take this. Oh, but wait, that's probably a massive bait for Tempo Storm to capitalize. So that's not their intention at all. But Tuark doesn't know that.
All right, so the big deal, though,
Level
Tuark
20.
has hit 20.
Yes.
They have the increased range on the Draken Laser Drill. They have Twilight Archon. The Longboat Raid is improved. Lightning Breath is much stronger. Their damage output is so much higher, and Uther they have a double resurgence, Diablo and Uther. So they have a lot going for them, but they need to have an ironclad defense because if they lose a team fight here, Tempo can end the game with that Plant Terror.
Keep note that Diablo does not have the souls to regen or to revive just a sitting at 63. It's very possible for them to get aggressive in the longboat raid.
It's getting blown up rather quickly. Strafe will finish it off. The damage, the Tranquility is coming out to keep the team alive. A big Divine Storm kind of whiffs, and the laser drill is just being mitigated by that Tranquility. A beautiful ice block used, but KO is being focused down by those Vikings in the back line. But look at Illidan. He is just cleaning up. Tychus is down. We see that Uther has fallen. He will respawn in the bolts of the storm. They are just going for the core. We have mercenaries pushing from all 3 lanes.
Tempo Storm has done it. They have made the comeback, the biggest comeback we have ever seen in any Heroes of the Storm set. This is insane. They looked like they were giving up after game 2. Just the way the Tuareg was crushing them in a 3-0 reverse all kill, like you were mentioning.
I can't.
What is this? What is this incredible play from all of these teams? Just thank you to our pro players, honestly, for giving us some of the greatest matches we've ever had. The honor of
my
casting.
hair's gonna fall out. My hair. I'm actually just. I'm just pulling my hair. These games are ridiculous, guys. Calm down, Jake. Talk.
Okay.
All right,
it's okay.
talk,
we can do this.
Reverse all kill is so hard to do. I don't care what video game you're playing. I don't care what sport you're playing. To come back in a tournament like that is insane. The amount of momentum, the confidence that is provided for a team, they lost to Maelstrom in Game 5. Yeah. Maelstrom has had time to observe all these games, rest, watch, eat food. So they have that advantage. But Tempo Storm, they're on a high in terms of the victory they just came off of. So they're feeling good. They're feeling strong. They've been playing all day long. I didn't actually intend for that.
But no, it's a really, really good point to bring up. And oh man, it just goes to show how strong of a team